From the John DeVito Broadcast Center, welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to Paranormal Radio with Bob Tricek on the Windy City Hometown Entertainment on Monday, January the 19th, the year 2019. Oh, I say today is January the 14th, I'm sorry. So sit back and enjoy Paranormal Radio. And now, as of last year, and same this year, here's the king of Paranormal Radio, Mr. Bob Tricek.
Thank you, John. Thank you, everyone, for listening. Happy New Year to everyone. Hope your holiday season was a good one, and New Year started off right for you, and hopefully 2019 will be the best year so far that you've had in your life. Just want to start off thanking a few folks. I wanted, first and foremost, I would just like to mention Mr. Jack Ryan. He's not on Paranormal Radio, and if you just listen to Paranormal Radio, you probably won't know who he is. We call him Red. We know him as Red, Jack Red Ryan. He used to wrestle. He used to be a pro wrestler many, many years ago in that. And then he, in the fall, he had some surgery done for a hip replacement, and then he went into a stroke. And from the stroke, now I understand he went into a pneumonia, so we're kind of praying for him and hoping that he does well. He's very much a part of the Windy City family here. He does actually 2 shows here. He does Chicago Junction, which is the railroading show, and then he does Meet the Chicago Historians. But of course now for the last few weeks he's not been doing the shows because he's been recuperating there, and we just wish him well and hope everything goes well with Mr. Ryan and that he comes back to do some more radio and everything turns out well for him. So just keep him in your prayers for us and do us a wonderful favor with that, and hope everything's well with Jack. In actuality, the reason I'm here doing Paranormal Radio was kind of Jack Ryan. He introduced me to Windy City. He was doing his Chicago Historian show, and I actually guested on his show, and then I started doing my show here thanks to him. So it's just kind of funny how things go full circle in the world there. Okay, the folks that we had on last month, Mr. Tim Jones and his team, I forget the name of the team, which was, and I'm asking my 2 experts on teams here, Mr. Tony Sabelski and Mr. Jason Sherman, in the presence of others. That was the team. Tim was I'm not certain if he was the leader of the team, but then the other 2 young ladies, which their names escape me, I'm terribly sorry, I apologize, I just didn't write your names down. But thank you, the 3 of you, for coming on and do the show. You did it. You know the names?
Cheryl Martinek is one. I don't know the other one.
Yeah, I don't know the other one. They were all great. They did a wonderful show, and they drove a long way to get here. We're up in Norwich, and they come from Crystal Lake, and they came a long way to do the show, so thank you very much. They did a wonderful show, and thanks to them. I just wanted to mention something else too, something I normally don't do. Normally when we do this show, Paranormal Radio, we all put plugs in for all the paranormal tours and lectures and talks and books we're writing and seances we're giving and God knows what all else, anything to do with the paranormal. But a friend of mine, Mr. Roger Lorella, who's also a friend of Paranormal Radio, has been on this show before. He's with MUFON, the Mutually Unidentified Flying Object Network. Mr. Roger Lorella, today via Facebook, I contacted him, and he also is fantastic. He likes to volunteer and do a lot of good things all over the place and that, and I just admire people that do this. And he's actually doing a thing now with the South Suburban Humane Society. He volunteers with them, and they're actually collecting for some donations. They're selling candy, collecting for donations. What they did is they wound up buying a huge, I think he said it's like twice the size of the current building that they're in, the Humane Society, that branch of it that they're in. They bought a building now, and it used to be a former animal shelter, and it's like twice the size, and they bought that, and they're looking for donations to fix it up and get it up to snuff and everything, and it will be able to save at least 800 to 1,000 more pets that would normally have been destroyed were it not for the Humane Society. So they're able to accommodate that many more of them in there with that. If you would like to give to this, you can contact South Suburban Humane Society. They do have a website. Or he gave me I asked him for a phone number, and he gave me the number of 708-755-7387. So that's 708-755-7387 for donations, and this is for the Humane Society. And like I said, it's a wonderful cause, and thanks to Mr. Roger Lorella for doing that. Also, too, with MUFON, they will be having their next meeting. They meet, I think quarterly, 4 times a year they meet. Their next meeting will be up in March, and that will be in Tinley Park. They'll be having their meeting there, and I'm going to try to make that one with them. I really would like to. Okay, just wanted to mention that. Next month, for February, I actually have the guests lined up with this. been playing telephone tag with these folks for a while. They actually contacted me, which was really nice. I'm always happy when people do that, when they outreach. And then I called them back, and then they called me back, and we missed each other, and you know how that goes. And then we finally got together and talked a couple of nights ago. We were on the phone for at least an hour. Her name is Audra Weisserick. I hope I said this right. It's Weizcorick. And her team, they are called Hauntings and Paranormal, The Unexplained. Hauntings, Paranormal, and The Unexplained. And they will be on the 11th. They set a date with us, so February 11th they're going to come on. I have to check even and see if the 11th is Monday. I hope it's a Monday because she knows we do the shows on Monday. So they will be on with us next month. Just to let you know what's going on with that. And then for the March show, I'd like to try something a little different. Certainly not an original idea, and certainly nothing that I thought of off the top of my head, but it will be something new for this show, for the format that I've been running here. What I'd like to do is maybe get a panel of people on, and then have callers call in and ask questions. Maybe get somebody that their expertise is Pastors Grove Cemetery, and that's all they do. That would be Pete, of course, and then others, of course, but Pete first and foremost, and then someone else that would maybe be an expert in photography or apparitions, and somebody else maybe with voice recordings and just different things, and have these different experts in the field on, and then people could call in and ask questions regarding the paranormal, whatever they would like to ask, and we can direct the question to that person and do that, sort of like a question and answer. Like I said, it's not an original idea by any means. It's been done many, many times in that, but it would be something different for this show. I'd like to try that for March, so we'll see how that goes, if we can get that together. Okay. The gentlemen that I have on tonight, none of them are strangers to Paranormal Radio. I enjoy them all, and I thank them all for coming on. They've been here multiple times, and as usual, they're always welcome to come back, along with everybody else. I've never had anybody on this show that I've never invited back. Mr. Jason Swerzinger. Jason.
No, that's Julius Swerzinger.
Yeah, they've been on multiple times. I know them. They're nice people, and I mixed the names up. That's why I got no response. I wondered, what's the matter? I turned my head, I'm looking at him, and he's not responding because I mixed the names up. It's Jason Sherman and Julius Swerzinger. Julius Swerzinger is the one I wanted to
This is what makes the show unique today.
Right, exactly.
Yeah, me messing things up. It's, just old age is setting in. What can I say? Julius, thank you for coming back.
Thank you for having me back.
Sorry, I missed your name.
Turning red.
I know. I look right at. I look right at him, and I'm mixing up the names. I can't tell you how many times I've done this.
Jason is my stepbrother. So
Yeah.
it's okay.
Yeah, well, I think it was the J that threw me. Yeah, let me make an excuse. So, Julius, thanks for coming back on. And then thank you for the T-shirt, too. I got another T-shirt to add to my collection from one of the paranormal groups. Thanks to Julius.
You're welcome.
And Jason Sherman.
There we go.
That one I got right. Jason's with us. He's been on before, too. Thank you for coming back, Jace.
Thank you for having me.
You're welcome. Like I say, always come back anytime you like. Mr. Tony Sapelski, no stranger. Mr. Tim Conway.
Thank you, Bob. Yeah.
Tim Conway of Paranormal Radio. I always say that because Tony just comes on whenever he
Right,
wants to.
yeah.
Although lately he hasn't been on because
No,
he's
I
been
haven't
very
been on
busy.
for a while.
You've been
Been very
busy.
busy, yeah.
You've been busy with a lot of
The
stuff.
old days, I used to just stumble down the stairs and I was
anytime
right
you want.
there.
Yeah, right. Yeah. I always just like to use the joke how, like, if you're old enough to remember the old Carol Burnett show, Mr. Tim Conway was such a frequent guest on the show. Finally, I think the last year or the last 2 years that the show was on the air, I think she had a 10 or a 15-year run with that show. She finally said, why don't we just make him a regular on the show? He's been on so much. And such is the case with Tony. He's been on so many times and that, but now he's very busy with other stuff. And then, of course, Mr. Pete Crapia,
Hey, how you doing?
who pops on anytime he wants because he lives kind of close to the station,
Yeah.
so it's good for him.
This
So
is fun.
yeah. So nice to have you all back on. Who would like to start off here? Everyone have a great Halloween season and a great Christmas season and all that fun stuff? And
Yeah, sort of,
Good.
kind of, sort of.
Yeah. Kind of, sorta. Well, we'll
yeah.
start with you. What's the sorta part of the kind
Well,
of?
vacation was nice. Didn't have
Oh,
to
so you
work.
got some vacation.
But,
Okay.
3 people died. I know. So
He was telling me this before we started the show. If you want
That's
to,
not fun.
now that you said that, if you want to relate the story, go ahead. And this it always goes in threes. That's like this. Always
Yeah,
in threes.
right.
So if you want to tell the story, go ahead. I thought.
no,
it was,
I just the short of it is that I'm used to knowing when people are going to die, right? So not that I'll actually tell them. This time around, it was weird. I didn't exactly know who it was. It was coming in waves. It wasn't a single person. Turned out 2 coworkers committed suicide. And then I knew something was not over with this whole thing going on with me, like knowing something's going to die, like it's not over. And as soon as I started my vacation, it ended, the feeling. I come back from vacation, I found out the day we left, the last day of work, this guy dies in his sleep. So I'm like,
what do you do?
Wow.
I can't tell you where
okay,
I work,
okay.
but let's just say that's with robotics and
Is it a
stuff and
stressful
CNC
job?
stuff.
Is that maybe why he's
No. This guy smoked like a chimney. On a cigarette break, he had 3-4 cigarettes.
Oh,
Whoa.
He'd like the next cigarette with a lit cigarette.
Oh.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So anyway, that was just kind of a weird
Yeah,
thing.
that is kind of strange. And like we say, death's always go in threes.
But
And
usually I know
hope
who
it doesn't
and all
happen to
that
me,
kinda
because I had a
stuff.
death last month too, but not a friendly, a personal death or anybody that I knew or anything. The same thing too, a place that I work. Went to check the bathroom, and there was a person dead in there that had been in there for about 40 minutes to an hour, that was bluish, in color, that had been there for a little while. And it was kind of a strange thing.
Did they have to
yeah.
sneak the body out? Because
No, they didn't. We called the paramedics and everything, and paramedics came and took the person. And then, of course,
put them on a gurney?
And this is a public
pretended
place.
they were still alive, so the
Well,
customers wouldn't freak
no,
out,
they
or
didn't
what?
say anything. But customers are asking us, and all I simply said was that a woman took sick, and the paramedics were handling it. They were
When the
taking care of
sheets
that.
over the body.
Well, it wasn't quite over her head and that, and that. So, but,
Your eyes are open.
yeah,
Sorry,
it was
making
a little
fun of it,
strange.
but
yeah,
I don't know how they do that in public.
I always
How do you handle it? You
felt
go
bad
for a-
because I says, now this is someone, we don't know the name, we don't know who she is, who she was, what she was doing there. This was at one time somebody's little girl, somebody's baby, someone's child, possibly someone's mother, a wife. Maybe we don't know. And here to die in a public place like this by yourself, no one knows you, and that. Very much a shame. I just felt so bad
Did they
about
ever
it.
figure out who it was?
I'm sure the police knew because they had
Oh.
her purse and everything and all that, but they don't. I didn't ask the information, and they didn't offer it to us, so we just let it go at that. But I said a few prayers for her and things like that, and just hope that all is well and that her spirit is at rest, and that was it. Yeah,
Sounds like they went peaceful.
yeah,
Yeah, that just,
So-
yeah. But anyway, I hope now that was it, because like I say, these things always go in threes, and that was one. Although we did have someone. No, that person didn't die. That was another incident. Somebody got sick there with something else.
But I could read your book if you want.
What book?
I could be the third.
Oh no! I don't want. No! I don't want to do. No. Pete's
Too young,
referring.
Pete.
See, now
I'm going to do a book on your book.
Now I have to explain that. I've been writing a book, something I've wanted to do for years and years and years. And then I have a co-author, Gary Wright, a personal friend, known him since he was literally a baby. We worked together to write a book and everything like that. Well, no sooner did we finish the book, and went and picked it up and everything, and I read it, and I said, well, we have to make some changes to it, and we have to do some things to it and that, because there were a couple things I, didn't like this or that, or nothing major, just some minor things and all that. And we were supposed to get together, and like 3 days after I met with him, he goes in the hospital. He had quintuple, 5. Is that quin is 5?
I don't remember.
Quad is
but
4, quin is 5. 5
think so.
bypass
Oh,
surgeries.
Just say a handful.
Yeah, he had another gentleman who's a friend. I had him later on down the line, just past November. Just look at the book and proofread it and tell me what you think of it and that kind of thing like that. And a couple of days after he looked at it, he went into the hospital and had 2 stents put in for his heart. So I says, I think that's it with this
I'm
book.
not going to look at your
I
book.
don't want to.
yeah,
I
I know.
really
Stay away from that book.
I'm going to talk to Gary about it, and if he wants to get this thing published or whatever, okay. But I really don't know if I want anybody else doing any proofreading or anything on this. I just don't want anybody else getting sick, and I'm very superstitious about things like that, and I just don't want that happening because, like I say, these things do go in threes. So anyway, that's kind of what happened with me for the last couple of months here.
I used to have a lot of threes. I forget what they were.
Everything
but
goes
it
in
just seemed,
threes. Yeah, 3s and 7s are good numbers for stuff. Yeah,
quite a-
threes.
quite a
The 7s
bit
are
there.
actually lucky numbers, but 3 seems to be everything. That's and they used to always say 3 on a block too. When somebody on
I
the
didn't
block
even know
dies.
that was a thing. I'm just
Yeah.
like, look, it's 3 again.
I told you right away as soon as
And
you
then
related
as I
that
get
story to
older,
me, I told you
like,
that's your
what?
3, Pete. There's 3. So Tony, who have you had pass away on you or whatever? Nothing.
Nothing that exciting. I did have a girl this past fall faint on a tour. It was a walking tour. We
You
were
scared
outside
her
the
that much,
Chicago
huh?
History
Because of your
Museum.
handsome
She was a
looks,
young,
right?
yeah, it was my handsome looks. She was a young girl, and she just went down.
So
The
there was
ambulance
something-
came.
There was something in that history museum that frightened
Well,
her.
we
that
were just
much, huh?
outside it. That's where
Oh.
the Lincoln Park tour
Oh, yeah.
meets, and
Chicago Historical
yeah,
Society.
Chicago
Oh, yeah.
Historical Society. And
What did she do? Get a look at George Washington's set of dentures or something, and that made her.
Could be.
If they still have them in there, I'm not certain if they do.
I'm not sure. I know
I
they
like-
still have the bed that Abraham Lincoln
They
died
have the
in.
bed, and they have the
That's
table, the marble top table that Lee and Grant signed the surrender at the Appomattox Courthouse for the surrender of the Civil War. They have the table in there.
there. Okay.
And the bed that Lincoln died in, they have in there.
Yes, yeah.
They have that. They also have another very strange thing, and I don't know even if they exhibit it anymore, but they have framed in a very ancient-looking frame, and with some very archaic paperwork that goes along with it, they have a snakeskin. And this snakeskin supposedly is the skin of the snake, the serpent that tempted Eve.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
Now, how they
Yeah,
would
how
know
they-
this,
how they
I
would
don't
know
know.
that
But through the years,
so long
somehow,
ago.
Isn't that supposed to be a reptilian?
so long ago, this is the beginning of time.
Yeah,
you
right,
know,
yeah.
I mean, really, beginning of time as we know it,
Yeah.
biblically anyway, and supposedly they have this skin there. So they have some strange things in there.
They got
and
a letter of authenticity.
They have a
from,
couple- they have a couple of
from
letters.
Eve. That, yeah, this
they
is
have a
the-
few letters. So I don't know if it's from Adam and Eve themselves, but yeah. Any to hoot, yeah. So kind of strange. So you've been very busy.
Yeah, well, very, very busy.
Yeah, you've had a very busy
season. It
season.
slowed down finally.
Well, yeah, for the winter months like
believe
this.
Believe it or not, I did a walking tour last night in Lincoln
Oh,
Park.
jeez, you got to be kidding me.
Too old for that.
Six young ladies.
That's what I said.
Oh, six, okay. 6 brave souls, huh?
6 brave souls.
Bundle up and you go out there and that's it, you know.
Right, yeah. That's what we did.
Yeah. What the heck? If they're willing to do it.
Right, if they're
give them
willing
the tour,
to do
yeah.
it.
Might as well.
I went and did it.
And Jason, we got to catch up on you. What's going on? None of the bad stuff. We want to hear all positives.
There is no bad stuff.
No, there shouldn't be.
No. Well, over the holidays, I mean, nobody died in my family. Or
Thank
friends,
God.
so
Yeah, I
that's
don't want to
good.
see that happen to anybody.
Knock
Yeah.
on wood.
Yeah.
But yeah, I've got a lot going on.
Good for you. Good. Yeah. Anything new and exciting that you want to talk about?
You said
Well-
nothing negative, though.
Well, I said
I
new
think
and
you got
exciting.
New and
a lot of-
exciting.
you got some new and
You got a lot of
exciting
new
stuff,
and
but-
exciting.
Well, I do have. I'm planning on getting a bus tour together throughout the suburbs, like springtime, summertime,
Okay.
because it's not being done very much in the suburbs. So I'm looking forward to that. As well as library presentations on the paranormal.
Good, okay.
Use of paranormal equipment, and share ghost stories with the general public.
Every time I give somebody the idea, I bite my own hand. Drives me nuts.
I met you on a library presentation.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah,
that's right.
I
Not
did.
Tony. Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know if I was doing the presentation
You were.
or somebody else
You were
was.
doing
Oh,
the
I was doing it.
presentation.
Okay. Yeah, I
Yeah.
wasn't
really?
certain.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I know I met you there. Oh, that's right, at Bridgeview.
Bridgeview.
At
Yep,
Bridgeview.
that
Yep,
was
that's
it.
right.
Yeah.
That was a while ago.
I said the king of paranormal talk radio was going to be this. I
No,
knew
I
I
don't
had
think.
to come.
I don't think.
right?
I don't think at that time. At that time, I don't think
No,
I
you
was the
weren't
king.
the
I
king.
was the
No.
king of paranormal
No,
radio.
but you did invite me.
I was
to
doing
radio,
the
so-
show, but I don't think I was the king of paranormal
Not yet.
radio at that time. And Julius, what's going on with you, sir?
Oh, nothing. The holidays were good. Nobody died yet, so everything's good.
Let's not even talk about it.
You know?
Yeah.
Paranormal stuff starting to pick up again a little bit. We're doing stuff at the church. With
Seance
Tony.
coming up this week, right?
The what now?
Seance.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's coming this Saturday actually.
Okay.
And, it's at 5 o'clock, and then at 11 o'clock at night we're having a tour inside the church.
You're doing a seance in the church?
Yeah, not me.
Things have really changed.
It's a
Not
spiritual
Christian
church.
It's not a Christian
It's a
church.
spiritual
Oh, yeah, I'm
It's a
like-
spiritualist church. Yeah.
All
You
right,
got to
right.
come there sometimes. It's pretty cool. But
I'll bring my robe.
go ahead. We're starting to do investigations because it's starting to get closer to spring and everything like that. We're going to go to Conover. The
The old piano factory
Yep.
mall. It's piano factory / antiques mall now, or whatever it is. Yeah,
in
yeah.
Oregon.
yeah, it's pretty popular with people when we have our tours out there. So that's going to be the 23rd of next month. And that's pretty much it. Whenever people request dates, we try to make them work for them.
How does it work now with that Conover Square? Because it was a former piano factory, and it is now a big warehouse, and now they turned it into an antiques mall. So now, obviously, you do the tours and things after hours when they're closed?
Yes, after hours.
Now, do they allow people to roam through the antique stores and that? With
No,
this?
no.
they
Those
can't.
are all closed.
Okay, I was going to say, because, you
Yeah.
don't know if somebody's going to pick something
Right.
up or whatever.
Well, you can still pick stuff up there.
Yeah.
There's still the vendors leave their stuff. They leave their stuff outside the doors.
Oh,
and
okay.
You have to sign a waiver. You break it, you're in trouble.
I was going
And
to say
it's
break
been
it, or
pretty
if somebody
good.
picks something up, puts it in their
Well,
pocket.
the basement and the attic are full of things too,
Yeah,
stored
yeah.
there.
Yeah,
So now you guys are responsible for that. Then, if they leave stuff out.
well, we actually go. We let the guy who runs the place come with us through the tours
Oh, got it.
too.
Okay, so somebody from their operation is there. Good. Okay.
yeah,
all
they
right.
stay there, but most
That's
of the
the
time he
best way,
goes to
because
his
you don't know.
own
They could
room.
always say
Yeah.
something's missing
Right,
or whatever.
right.
You don't want to get into that.
Yeah, but it's really laid back there, and
Good.
I'll tell you what, we always have a good response to people. We really never have anybody complain, and everybody
Good.
always gets some evidence out there, so it's
Wonderful.
pretty good.
That's
So,
What
a
kind
plus all the way
of
around.
evidence?
EVPs, you get shadow people. We had a response with people taking pictures, getting some good apparitions. There's like, you have a main level, and I really never got anything there. I get most of my stuff in the basement, and there's a sub basement we found out about that we're going to go in. It's supposed to be pretty good
You
too.
like discovered a new room?
Well, the guy who does the tours told us about it, and he says they
It's
really
like a Capone myth, right?
no, there's none of that
It
stuff
really
there.
exists.
No. In the attic, we did it last time. We were up in the attic. Shadow people running back and forth. It was fantastic. It's a really interesting place, and you always get something different. And the place is so big that you can go back 10 or 15 times to get something different each time. It's awesome, actually.
Okay.
My first time there, I saw shadow people in the attic.
Yeah.
Yeah, going back and forth in front of the windows. Yeah, and there's water right outside that.
There-
So
There's like a little creek or a pond.
It's right
or
on the
something
Rock
there, or-
River.
Rock
Oh,
River.
Rock River.
right on the
Okay.
Rock
Oh,
River.
okay. Yeah, where exactly is Oregon? I don't even know where this
Straight
place
up
is.
North Avenue,
Yeah.
about an hour and 45 minutes. It's you go
So,
right
like,
over the
almost
river.
2
and
hours
you're there.
away.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that means for me it would be 3 hours.
Yeah, it's
The way I drive.
it's a beautiful. It's a nice little old town.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I mean, if people go shopping there, the price. I mean, my girlfriend went there, and she loved to go shopping. She made their economy better, but it was really nice.
And your wallet thinner.
What's that restaurant in Oregon?
Which one?
Oh, Alfano's.
There's a haunted
pizza place,
restaurant
yeah.
over there.
So wasn't there always?
No, that's the Roadhouse.
The
That's
Roadhouse. The Roadhouse
yeah.
is haunted.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
What got haunted first? The Conover Square, the piano factory warehouse, or the restaurant?
I truthfully think the whole damn town's haunted.
Yeah.
Here we go again. Okay. Somebody else.
I'm serious.
I don't want to start
serious.
naming names or saying anything or nothing like that, but somebody else that's very famous in the business and very well known and very well known in a lot of different things with the paranormal actually haunted a whole town for the sake of promoting some of their own stuff.
Oh, a very southern.
Well, I don't
town?
want. Yeah, I don't want to say.
Well, the
that.
reason why I'm saying that,
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Bob,
yeah.
the reason why I'm saying that
I'll
is for the
amplify
hell
the
that I
audio
was
later.
looking
We
at
don't
some
hear what you
listings.
said.
I was looking at some home listings, and believe it or not, you know how you look through the pictures, seeing orbs and all kinds of stuff. It was amazing.
Yeah,
so
you showed me those things.
I
I
did.
remember,
I showed
yeah.
you show Tony, and I really think the majority of the town is haunted.
Yeah, it seems that way. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
I got good history with him.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, nobody can understand what's
I've
going on.
gotten.
No, that's
histories from-
okay. We don't need.
We're
to
talking
know.
about something else.
Yeah, no, we don't want to start. Bad
Oh, I love him though. He's a good guy.
Yeah, yeah.
He's
But
fun.
yeah, sometimes you find this is the case. They go in and haunt, and that's what I've been saying about the paranormal. I love the paranormal. That's why I do this. And I think it's just a fantastic
But
thing.
you avoid the drama.
Huh?
You avoid the
Well,
drama.
not even that.
Bob does. You do.
I do.
You
I
do
avoid.
avoid the drama.
I try to
You're
avoid
trying to
that
stay
as
He
much as-
has to. He has to stay neutral.
You have to.
Well,
If we hijack the microphones, there's nothing you can do, right?
no. It's really it really has nothing to do with even with doing this show. It just I don't like to get into that kind of stuff because you just want to stay friendly with everybody. Just simply,
Right.
it's just at this point in life, who wants to make enemies and
Jerry,
you want to be on a
Jerry.
friendly basis with everybody. But anyway, what I'm seeing going on in the paranormal, some of it I don't like because I just want the paranormal time to come to be recognized. And I've said this many, many times, and I say it almost every show. I want it to be recognized as an actual credible science and a credible field.
Right.
I'd like to see it go in that direction and eventually get like parapsychology and get, where you can have this taught in colleges and taught in universities and degrees and actual certificates given for this and everything, not just somebody paying a $55 fee and we print something up off the printer and here's your certificate, you're certified now. I want to see this actually become a credible business. And when people do little stunts like buy an old warehouse, and I'm not saying that's the case with the Conover Square thing or that. I just said warehouse just because that came to mind. But they buy a warehouse, a school, an old gas station, whatever it may be, and then it's haunted. And they rent this out for hauntings. Oh yeah, we got all this evidence. We got this. You didn't get anything.
The
It's not
people
even
that are
haunted.
serious-
There
Not
are
every
places
bit- not
like
every-
that, though.
Yeah,
well, there
I
are.
didn't say it's haunted.
Right.
There are,
for
but-
instance, that place in Wisconsin we were talking about. Not Wisconsin, Indiana. The
Monroe House.
Monroe House.
Oh, God.
Okay, now
a
that's
fake.
known.
Oh, God.
That's a known
It's a
one.
known fake. It's fake. We
Yeah.
went there. It's crap.
Yeah,
Yeah.
see, now that's a known. And how much money have they made renting this out to people?
A lot.
And-
Oh, probably.
Way
See?
too much.
And that's what I'm saying. See, when this kind of gets out, it's.
But they even did a
No.
paranormal show, and
Of
it was
course.
BS
Yeah.
because we went there, nothing happened. It was a long drive.
Yeah, but see, now here's the other. Now the flip side, just to say something in their defense. All right, just because you went there and nothing happened, maybe it just simply wasn't your day.
No, no, I know a few
Well,
teams
he
that
went there
they
too, and
got
nothing happened on a different day.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What started this location's reputation?
Probably Vagan, Zach.
Oh, that's all I needed to hear.
No, that's how
Somebody
most
decided
of
to
them
haunt a
started.
location
Paranormal
and rent it
Lockdown
and
was
use it
there,
for a
too.
show, and it went from that.
And we
there was
went to
nothing
Edinburgh Manor.
Edinburgh Manor, same thing.
even- Edinburgh. You went all the way to Scotland. Well, you'll find some haunted castles over there. or
I
something.
believe it is very haunted there.
Scotland, Iowa.
What?
In England. And
Oh, of course. Oh, my God,
I
yes.
mean,
You
severely
believe it is.
haunted
Oh, it
versus
sure
some of
is.
the crap we
Yeah,
have
Let me
here.
tell you something. In England and in the British Isles, net they advertise homes with ghosts in the real estate listings, and there have been cases known.
I'll buy it.
There have been cases where people bought the home and actually sued the realtor and say, we didn't get the ghost that we were promised. We didn't
Really?
get the ghost. Yeah.
You know, there's a place I want to visit soon. A guy bought it. He knew he was going to buy it psychically and all this kind of stuff. You ever hear of Mount Adams?
Mount Adams.
Yeah.
No.
Where's this?
No.
It's out west.
God, you guys
Oh, in
know-
Illinois?
You
And
just know all
actually
these
state of
weird
Washington.
towns.
Oh, okay,
Right.
okay.
And they actually have craft lights coming out of the mountain all the time. Military is even trying to chase it, and you go out to these locations, and they're not haunted.
Well,
per
this might be
se,
something UFO.
but they have a lot of parallels with the so-called ghostly activity that happens out there too. I mean, these balls of light will come right up to you off the mountain, travel up to the crowds of the people. You can videotape; they don't care.
Gee.
It's I mean, everyone going out these supposed haunted
So these are like-
locations.
So it could be both paranormal or from outer space. You say
well,
nobody knows.
well, no, if you really get into it, really,
Super orbs, they sound like.
no, they're just different dimensional beings that are living in different parts of the
Okay.
earth, all that kind of crap. Except that there's legitimate on-site evidence. I got to witness some of it when I was out west. It was pretty amazing. So
That's really interesting.
yeah, it is. It is very amazing. So
I believe we have lots of stuff in our world that people don't know about.
Oh,
yeah.
no doubt about it. No, hands down, no doubt about it. That's why we all do what we're doing,
Right.
to try to find out about
so
some
you
of
got to
these
wonder
things.
when you
Yeah.
go out to a location that's so-called haunted. Why do you always why does everyone assume it's dead people?
Right.
True.
No, it doesn't necessarily.
Yeah.
No, it doesn't.
necessarily mean
No,
that.
it doesn't necessarily have to be dead
Most people are assuming everything's dead people.
No.
You do a seance, you think you're contacting the dead.
No.
You get the Ouija board out, you think you're contacting the dead.
Well, who are you contacting?
You're using a mental process to contact something that's
If
not
you're getting
physical.
if you're getting a message back from someone with a Ouija or with a medium or whatever, who is the person that's answering back? If they're not a person that's in the spirit world, who is it?
It could be multiple things, but most people
What?
just assume it's dead people.
I didn't ask you if it was multiple things. I asked you who is it.
I
Name-
wouldn't
name
know.
two of the multiple
There are a
things.
lot of non-physical intelligent things.
So-
Interdimensional
See, some you
beings that
cannot
you
see.
So if it
identify.
isn't
As
people
we
that
are
have
in our
passed
human
on and
bodies.
left this world, it is some other non-physical intelligent being.
Well,
Wait,
that's
back
that's
again?
his
What?
belief.
I'm sorry.
Yeah.
It really
Wait,
could
The,
be
sa- the
anything.
same, no, the same belief.
Is that not
I'm
the
just
same
saying.
as?
I don't know.
I've had my taste with so-called dead, and I've had my taste with some other things that I'm very neutral with. That are it's an intelligence. It will interact with you. You can have many people with you when it happens. It can manifest stuff out of thin air, and these are things that just blow the mind for people and go get the F out of here, whatever, dude. But what are these things, right? So
That's what I'm asking, yeah.
And these things are not necessarily dead people, and I know in some cases they're definitely not dead.
and that's the
people.
question I asked. If they're not dead
When you
people,
can determine when they're not dead people, that's I think extremely interesting.
yeah,
Yes.
and how do you
Yeah.
determine this exactly?
Well, you can
well,
get a
if you have positive identification too, if you know someone has
Sure.
passed away and you're getting a name and the name is on the headstone or something,
It's probably going to be a very long
or the person once resided in
conversation,
that place
how
or whatever.
I've discovered, though I didn't discover it, but I mean how I've come across this for myself. Okay, but anyway, I'm going to go on a tangent, ain't I?
Which is not unusual for you. That's why I like having you on there, because you always have
I'm
these
hearing about
wonderful
these
stories.
He
locations.
does this all the time.
And-
He
No,
does
he-
every time I've been here.
and I always let him run with it because he
And
always
it's-
has these
it's-
wonderful
it's
stories.
valid
If
what
you,
he's
you know,
saying.
if,
Right,
if you
yeah,
believe them or not, if you believe them or not, he always has wonderful stories to tell, and I
Yeah.
like that. And he's very candid and very open about it, and he tells you just the way it.
Well, you
just
mentioned
experienced it.
interdimensional beings.
Yes.
Yeah.
That would
Mhm.
be something different than a dead person. I would think.
Are they not one and the
necessarily.
same?
It depends on how we.
No, they're not.
I mean, how do we live? How do we really live? I mean, we can. Well, I'm hoping some of you have left your body, done astral projection at some point. And if you can leave
Never
your
happened
body,
to me. No.
no, really, nobody here at the table's done that.
Pete, let me be
No,
honest
I
with
Oh,
you.
I'm sorry.
If-
Okay,
if
well, I
Pete,
have.
Pete,
And so
let's
it's like
put
if
it
you
this
can
way.
leave your body and still be here, that's a different kind of dimension that you're in.
Let me put it to you this
Okay,
way. If
so-
I could leave this body, do you think I'd still be with it?
Yeah.
You know, I pick something else. You know.
Find a new
Maybe-
one
maybe-
I
somewhere.
think I actually. Wait a minute now. You know what? I just stole the quote. What was the quote? Oh, Lincoln quote. Someone accused Abraham Lincoln of being two-faced, and he said, "If I had two faces, do you think I'd be using this one?"
There you go.
Yeah. Same thing. If I could pick a different body or whatever, boy.
This is why I have a hard time actually mingling in the so-called paranormal field. There's not. I mean, even something as simple as out of body. Now, nobody here at the table has done out of body.
Nope.
No.
And
I don't
think,
even
you
know how
know,
to do it.
I've
to
heard
begin
of it
with.
from
well,
other
mine was
people, but I haven't
spontaneous.
done it.
And to do it on purpose is.
I think, Pete, some of the experiences and things that you have are so unique
Well,
and just so
maybe.
different. And
Well,
that
they feel unique when you don't
Yeah.
run into too many other people.
Yeah.
But there's plenty of
people that are
out
like
there.
you that have.
But how
have
do you
those
do
and-
it, though?
yeah.
That's the question.
Well, spontaneous,
you turn
doing
it
it
on
on
and turn it
purpose.
off,
I mean,
yeah.
for me, it's just a matter of, hey, I miss doing it, and then I'll tell myself to do it, and then I'll just go to sleep and pop out. I go,
Hmm.
you know, that kind of stuff. But I don't like do it often. You know what I mean? Now my grandmother was different. She had a really good. She could do it like that. Go to a friend's house, see what they're doing, come back, get on the phone, and tell the friend what they were doing. That was their game.
See, my mom would mention something like that, and she would say stuff to me. And I didn't say she was crazy, but she'd say, I could stop time and move forward And
Wait, stop time.
she would stop time mentally, like she would be driving, for instance, and say, it would say be 8 o'clock, okay, and she had an hour drive, and she got there at 8:15. If that makes any sense.
That's
Now-
missing
that's
time.
interesting.
That sounds like missing
But
time.
This is what this is.
right?
This
And the
is
missing time of is
moving around.
Now,
I don't know what that
time
means.
travel-
she said she
something-
was able to do this on just how
Yeah.
We're talking about time travel, and time travel is something that I firmly believe in. It's not been proven, but I firmly believe in time travel. And I actually think that many of us, myself included, have contacted or been in contact with people from other time zones and aren't even aware of it. It's happened to me. And the way I say that happened was just something odd about the experience. And you notice the way they're looked and how they conduct themselves and how they. And I said,
just
wait a
that
minute.
Bachelor's Grove one.
Well, one in particular.
Oh,
You know,
they're
clothing.
wrong.
Clothing,
Never
of
mind.
course, is the obvious one. I mean, if you see people dressed in clothing that's not of
Right.
this era and not current in that, of course, you say, well, unless it's Halloween or they're going to some sort of a costume party or something, why do they look like this? And hairstyles and things like that. You know, that type of thing like that. But another thing that I'm very much with time travel is it's also connected very much with UFOs.
Yes.
One gentleman that I had on here, Mr. Tom Cameron, he's had many experiences with aliens and things like that. And he says it's always a time that I can't account for. There's like a time, like from the time it happens, and you sort of go into this state of unconsciousness or whatever. And this just for example, may happen at 12 a.m. And next thing you know, when it's over with, it's 2 p.m. Where did the 2 hours go? We never left the spot. Where did the 2? So I firmly believe there's like some sort of a time warp there and that type of thing like that. Maybe
Now-
in time to come, we'll be able to turn this on and turn this off.
Now, this is not the time warp thing, but
Okay.
I had something happen with this gentleman over here.
The two of you together
last
experienced
winter.
it. Okay.
We were at the Congress Hotel.
Okay.
We were doing an investigation there. We had a group of people. There was about 7, 8 of us maybe. We were heading from, I believe it was the 12th floor, over to outside room 441, which
Okay,
is one of
yeah,
the most
yeah.
haunted. Yeah, you're familiar with that. And as we were going down the hallway, this was like last February. They had sections of the hotel closed off. There were no lights on in this hallway. It's still heated because they keep the pipes don't burst and stuff like that. As we were going down the hallway, Jason was walking in front of the rest of the group. He was maybe, I don't know, how far would you say you were in front of us?
10 feet.
10 feet or so.
Okay.
I was standing a little further back with another lady standing next to me, and you could clearly see the sign saying that room 441 is straight down the hallway. We see Jason go to the right. And, we kind of stop and look at each other like, where's he going? So I go, when we get up to that point, I go down the hallway where I see him turn.
He's not there.
I'm calling his name. There's elevators there. There's the stairwell going up and down. I'm looking up and down, calling his name. No Jason. So I go back to the group, and I'm like, okay, well, he knows the hotel well enough. He'll figure it out. He'll find us.
It was
I don't know
clearly
where he
him,
went.
right?
Right, it was clearly him. And we went down to room 441, and he's standing in front of the room.
This happened this last December.
Last February.
Last February?
Less than a year ago.
Okay.
Mhm.
All right, keep going. Sorry, I'm just.
Yeah. It was clear. It clearly looked
But
like
where
him.
where really were you at the time?
I was standing in front of the door where we were headed. I was standing there like this, like with my arms folded.
Yeah.
Like, what happened? Why you
Yeah,
guys
he-
look like a
Right.
ghost? They were pale. Like,
See, I think that's more of a time.
That's what we're kind of talking about.
just
Yeah.
a basic time thing,
Yeah.
parallel kind of time thing.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, when I have my, let's start basic. Like, let's say everyone here's had deja vu, right?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah,
Oh,
definitely.
oh,
That's
yeah.
definitely.
Here,
I
come
have
on.
that all the time.
Yeah.
I don't know what your experience level is with it. If it's daily or you've
No,
only had a
not
few
at all.
times.
Daily.
No.
You get it daily. Okay,
Yes.
good. So if you notice that these deja vu moments, you know how you get that feeling of time standing still and there's that rush. Do you ever have a moment to when you know, oh, wait a minute, this was in my dream? This is okay. Okay.
That's
so when
happened.
you realize that this was really came from a dream, it almost feels like you were catching up with time, and now you're having the deja vu moment.
Yeah, but sometimes it's not a dream.
Yeah.
It's like
you can
it's
predict
like a,
what's about
Yeah,
to
but
happen next.
this is a
right?
little different
Yes.
case because
Well, listen,
he
I've
experienced
I've told
it.
him that's happened to me.
I think you've had other
Yeah.
people
Okay.
there
Yeah.
too. So yeah.
You predicted that you're traveling, what's going to happen next, that kind of thing. And then there's a quiet zone. I don't know if you notice this. Rarely have I noticed people notice this. But after the whole rush is gone and everything, you get a quiet zone. And you have a lot of information. Even though you remember the dream to me was
I know
more
what
like
you're
a
talking about.
bookmark.
Yeah.
The moment was a bookmark for you, but there's this information there. And it's always going to be an unusual event of some kind. Every time you have a deja vu, it's a bookmark of something unusual.
That makes sense.
Is this not
That's
the
happened
case
to me
though?
before.
Hey, you've seen this pattern?
Yeah, it's
Okay.
happened to me numerous
Is this
times.
not the case though?
If you're having that a lot, you're probably traveling
residual
through
haunt
time, by
is.
the way. And that's a whole different topic,
I never even
and that's
thought
how
of that.
you're getting some of this information.
Okay.
Okay, I know it's really loose and like, oh, Pete, what the hell are you talking about? But I mean, you've had some experience with this,
Yes.
and I have a lot of experience with it. And it seems that what's happening with me when I'm doing this is that I'm traveling through time. How I'm picking up the information is a whole. It's weird. Okay, but I always know that it's me traveling through time. So you talk about time travel. This is like a different form of time travel. So you saw him as a ghost, though, right?
I mean, it's kind of hard to
not sure. I
duplicate
mean,
it.
it
You
looked
said you-
like him.
Oh, so you're not sure? Or you're pretty sure.
Well, I know I saw
There was numerous
him.
people
A couple
that
people
said the same
saw
thing.
him.
So
go
let me
to
just
the
recant
right.
the story. You saw him go to the right. You saw him go
Right.
down the hall. You went
Yeah.
over there and you called him, and he wasn't
Right.
there. There was nowhere to be found. But
Right.
then where did he show up?
He showed up back in front of the room,
Where he was.
441, which would you have to go through
Was
the
in the
hallway
other direction.
door.
So he would
and-
have, if he did that, he would have passed you.
The reason I
unless-
bounced
No,
back
he was
to
ahead
that,
of us,
Gotcha.
but I didn't. None of us saw him go further down the hallway. We saw him go this way.
Okay. But then when you look for him, he was in front of
He's
441.
He
in
was
two
in front of
locations
So
at the
either he
same
knows,
time
either
is what
he
you-
has the secret
Yeah,
of
that's what it sounds
dematerialization, where he can make himself appear and disappear at different places, or
I
it was
do
some
have
sort of
superpowers.
or it was some sort of a time warp. Yeah.
He's been hoping he
He
gets
can appear and
it.
disappear.
So there have been
Don't let it go to
cases.
your head now. Just take it.
Yeah.
There
in,
have been
alright?
cases. There have been
Yeah.
some very famous people that have documented cases and things where they've seen ghosts. But the trouble with their story was the ghost they saw was someone that was still alive.
Right.
That's happened. One which comes to mind, I mentioned Lincoln earlier. One very famous one that comes to mind with me was the case of Mary Todd Lincoln. When the Lincolns were in residence in the White House, she went into the Blue Room and she saw the ghost of John Tyler, who was our 10th president. She saw him kneeling down on one knee in front of a small sofa, like a small love seat type sofa thing in there, and she saw him there, and she couldn't figure it out. Well, that's fine and dandy. She saw John Tyler's ghost. Trouble with that, John Tyler was still alive. Blue Room happens to be the place where he proposed to his second wife. So maybe he was down on his knee, and she didn't see her, but she saw him,
Yeah.
and he was proposing to his second wife, proposing marriage to his second wife. But she claimed she saw him, but like I say, the trouble with that was he wasn't dead. She saw his ghost.
So, like you were
So
saying,
was this another
could
time
that be the
where-
residual
Exactly,
energy
that's
still
what it is.
left
It's
there?
something reoccurring
yeah.
and going over. So a time
See, I don't
travel.
even buy that stuff anymore. The whole repeating stuff, so to speak. I mean, if time's in a loop, time's in a loop.
Well, no,
But
that's what time. But now,
it's
how
like,
about like
to
with
me-
how about like with the appearance of a ghost? Okay, so you're seeing a ghost. The ghost is walking down the
If
hall.
I walk
and
into
doing
a
what it
home
did.
I'm about to buy and I start seeing a person and somebody turned around and said, "Oh yeah, they just died here last week," that's one thing. But you go into a location where you're seeing two of the same person, and everyone thinks the other one's a ghost.
But they weren't seen simultaneously.
I'm just saying there are like these differences. Like there are differences in the whole phenomenon
oh yeah.
thing.
Well, every
And
case
so-
is a little unique.
Right.
Every case is a
I
little
never
We
done
different.
what I
always
was
tell
gonna
the
make with this
story
one.
as his doppelganger. I saw his
The
doppelganger.
doppelganger.
Yeah.
Right. Right.
Yeah.
That's not the one. That's not the one instance that's somebody seen my doppelganger.
See,
It-
there you go. Like
The
something's
second
up
time?
with this. Right.
The second time was at Conover. There was an investigator named AJ there, and I was in back of him, and I guess he saw me go in front of him and then come back around. I never left behind him, and he was like, "I just saw you in
You were
front
just
of me."
up there. How'd you do this?
Yeah,
huh.
second time.
What I'd like to do is at some point get a camera rolling. Is only the human beings in the room able to see this, or can you actually capture this on camera?
That'd be interesting. I mean,
I
it's
wouldn't
all-
know.
Don't they have
where is the
cameras running?
processing
Don't they have
involved with
cameras
this?
running in the halls and the
They
hotels?
probably
Yeah,
do.
they
But
do.
I wonder.
don't
I wonder.
know.
If, oh, no, they don't have cameers up there. Ooh.
Yeah,
Well,
they
we
do.
won't say. We won't say
Yeah,
that
I
too
think
loud.
the
Yeah,
Congress.
they do.
No,
Oh, Conover,
Congress.
no.
Congress, not Conover.
No,
Congress
no,
would have
no,
them.
I
So this was
Sorry.
We'd have to go
this happened
back
at
and-
Conover, not at the Congress.
Well, the one I saw him,
Congress.
the one AJ saw was at Conover.
Conover.
I saw him at Congress. So his doppelganger's been seen twice.
You saw him at
by
the
two
Congress,
different
and the
people.
Congress is the hotel, and the
Yes.
Congress has.
Now, I
cameras.
would
They
like
should
to
have
throw in
cameras,
something
yes.
like-
I didn't even think about that. We could have asked
see,
them
yeah.
about it. I mean, now it's a year,
It's
almost
been
a
a
year
while,
ago.
but still, yeah.
What's going on,
If
Pete?
you know the date,
You were
Oh,
gonna say.
I was, and then I kind of backtracked. So I'm like, okay,
Oh.
good, I'm talking.
If you know the exact date, which I'm sure you do, the date you
we
were
could
there,
probably go back and look it up.
and
yeah.
depending on how long they keep their security tapes too. You know.
Right, yeah.
You
And
don't know.
John doesn't work there no more, huh?
No, he had surgery and he's been out for a while.
Oh,
He might be
Oh,
back
that
now.
was the security guard that you were kind of friends
Yeah,
with.
John.
okay,
John would
yeah.
kind of let us in all over the place.
Yeah, okay.
And
So-
we've got some new guards that aren't as nice right now.
So what is this then a case of? Is this a case of a freaky haunt, or is it time travel, or is it what is it?
Well, it seems time related.
Yeah,
it
that's what I
definitely
would
seems
say.
time
That's what
related.
I would say,
Start
yeah.
with
Can I
the
ask you a
basics.
question?
Yeah, go for it.
We were doing an investigation at the jail in Indiana, Crown Point, Indiana,
boy,
where
that
John
one.
Dillinger was.
Yeah.
And that was the only time during an investigation where I lost track of time. We were there for like 4 hours.
Something like that, yeah.
It
You-
was
you
literally
lost track of time though.
Yeah, it was literally like 30 minutes.
Meaning you feel like you lost time.
Yeah.
Okay.
I looked at the clock and I was like, there's no way it could be 4 hours. It felt like 30 minutes. It went by like that.
But there
Sometimes
was,
that happens.
yeah,
though. I mean, I've
feeling
had
one
that.
thing,
you know,
right, I don't
I've had that
know. I
happen
don't-
too.
you know, I mean, if you walked into a location and you came back on, everyone's like, "Where the hell you been? We've been looking for you for 4 hours, and you think you only were gone for a half hour." That
That would be a different
that
story.
would
yeah.
Right,
really
yeah.
flip me out.
That
Like,
jail,
wait a minute.
that jail's pretty big. I was only on one floor that whole time. Like that never. I can't explain that. I don't know.
But if time acts different around you, so to speak, I mean, just keep paying attention to it.
Yeah. You might just one of those people that's one of those people that's in tune with it. And yeah.
If you're having a lot of deja vu, you're obviously, to me personally, you are dealing with a lot of time. Whether
But
you
is
want to
that-
call it
but-
time travel or not, you're dealing
That
with
makes
the
sense.
concept of
But like-
time.
not
a
like
lot.
what I was saying though. When
And
you're
so
seeing
now people are seeing 2 of you, 3 of you, 4 of you, whatever the case may be, at the same time. That to me is a time issue.
When
It's
you're
in the
seeing
same
3 and 4,
category,
you
so-
stay away from the bar.
I know. I don't
So-
know if I can handle
I guess
four
my
of him.
first question would be, how much did they drink before they see 4 of me?
Yeah, right.
Yeah. That's interesting.
So just
Thank
keep paying attention to it.
Interesting point. Is it time travel? Is it now? What would you?
Yeah.
How do you
I
explain?
don't know.
Well,
this?
gaining the
Are you
information.
seeing? Are you
to
seeing
me
a ghost, or is it
was
just
a
something
form
that's
of time
stored up
travel.
in there, and it's just replaying?
And I
itself?
wondered-
like
yeah,
you say,
Pete
like-
had mentioned I
Yeah.
saw Jason's ghost. I never really thought of it that way.
Yeah.
If
But,
if
yeah.
I'm gonna know what's gonna happen in advance, whether it's minutes, days, hours, weeks, days, years, months, whatever, like, how the hell is that possible? Let's put
It's
free
not.
will
No,
aside.
that's
the
deja.
topic
That's
of free
deja
will.
vu. Yeah.
Okay, so what am I doing? And then I would go back to my experiences, and I'd be like, okay, I know it feels like I'm shifting up here and here and there and doing all these weird things in my sleep when I get this information, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I thought maybe it's just parallel timelines. Ones
But
that are
usually the
closer
case with deja vu, though, you don't know something 3-4 weeks ahead of time. Usually,
What?
right as it's happening, it could be something just as simple as you and I sitting here talking, and all of a sudden I'm thinking, "Gee, where have I done this?"
If
before?
you're pretty
Like,
good
I
at
almost,
deja vu,
I almost know the
you
next
figure
word
it
coming
out.
out of
You
your
know,
mouth. You know,
Jason obviously knows. When
Yeah.
you're really good at the deja vu thing, when you got a lot of experience with it, when you're going through the moment, not just the moment of standing still, hey, this looks familiar for most people,
Yeah.
and there's that rush feeling. There's also moments for us where it clicks. We go, oh, damn, last week or last month or yesterday, whatever.
where did
This
I do this
is the
before?
dream,
Yeah.
You
and
know,
and
yeah.
if you know this is it,
Yeah.
this is the so-called dream.
Yeah.
It isn't really a dream, but you're like, okay, and then you start to remember the dream, something you couldn't do when you first woke up when it happened, and you're like, okay, so if this is the dream I'm remembering, here's what's going to happen next, and damn it, and it happens. But however, for me, that isn't the most mystical part of the experience. It's really just a bookmark.
I can't speak for
It's-
anyone else, but in my case, my experiences with deja vu, when I've always had it, I don't like it doesn't happen, and I think about it a couple hours or a day later or
You
whatever.
think
and
about
so-
the deja
right
vu
at
thing?
that time,
Okay.
right at that minute when it's happening. I say, wait a minute, I almost know the next word that's coming out of his mouth. I know what they're going to say
Because you do.
I know what's
you
going
do.
on.
Deep
you know,
down, you do know.
You know, and it's like, geez, I've done this before. I saw this before.
In
And
a
it
lot
could
of
be
ways
something-
you
it's very
have.
si- it's not nothing very significant or anything. It's just something very a simple thing, you know. And you say, it's been. I noticed. Where did we do this before? You know, exact same thing. Exact same
Because it
clothing,
has
exact
happened
same
already.
movement.
It's
Yeah.
happened
Everything,
already.
you know,
This whole
yeah.
conversation
Yeah.
we're having, everything
So-
we're going to do tonight, it's
So that
already
is
happened.
on a different parallel time, on a different.
Well,
time.
if you can predict it, if you can see it, smell it, taste it, touch it ahead of time, then obviously it already did. Unless time is the illusion and everything is happening at once.
Well,
and
then
blah,
how do you
blah, blah.
explain someone
But
that's how about someone that's
I like a
medium?
better explanation.
How about someone that's a medium or a psychic and they're telling you things
about
that
it?
are going to happen?
See, that's
in
where I
the
have a
future?
problem. Somebody claiming that they're picking up this psychic information from dead Susie. How do you
No,
know?
not that
how do you know
Susie?
that-
Not that Susie. Live Pete. You go to see a psychic, and the psychic tells you, Pete, within a very short time. This is going to happen. What you're going to meet
You
the
wanna know the
love of
funny
your
part is,
life or whatever.
I like you to throw a psychic at me.
Yeah.
Every single one of them says I can't. You can't. They can't read me. I don't know why.
For a long time, I had that same problem too, and I might still, because I haven't been to too many psychics.
You have a mental wall. That's all.
I don't know.
That's all it is.
I do know that there's
Probably,
some. I have some. Real
I went to one
suspicions
very,
about
very
my
famous
background, and I
psychic
wonder
and
about
did that
life
to me.
in
She
general.
just was
Like
unable
Oh,
to
really?
read me. Yeah.
Yeah.
that there's a
It's
block.
just a wall. That's
But-
it. It's your subconscious. If you would relax a different way, I mean, because everybody's
me?
everybody's readable. Everybody is.
But they're having a problem reading me. I have no problems
No, I
reading
understand
them.
what
No, I'm just saying you
But
have a
you
wall.
have some-
You have
Yeah,
a
I know,
wall.
a
and
wall
You're
is
not letting them
preventing
read you.
I don't
that's all.
give. I don't care what anybody
No,
wants
you
to
don't
know
know,
about me. Though.
that
That's
may
the
be,
thing. It ain't that kind
here
of
again
wall.
now. Here again now, you might have different cases with this. Maybe Pete, because Pete is a very strong-willed
Yeah.
person and very opinionated in it. So maybe with Pete does have this wall up around him, and they say, "We just can't reach you. I just can't get in there, and we can't get over that wall," or whatever
Yeah, but
words they use to
people
do
that
it.
have problems
But-
with those so-called walls, I penetrate and get
I
stuff
went
out of their
there-
heads and it freaks them out.
I went to
So
see
I
it-
don't believe in the wall thing. I don't.
I've
get
been to
it.
see psychics freely, like on my own free will and everything like that, and sat there, and they know nothing about me, nothing. And she says, I'm just having trouble reading it. I'm just not coming up. It just is not coming up.
And that can happen. Sure.
Or they do a
Yeah.
reading.
Well, why-
they
why
do
all
a
of
reading,
them?
and I'll
You
go
know?
along with it. I'll say, "Oh yeah, that's fine."
It's a vibration that you get.
And then
off,
afterwards,
too.
they tell me.
I don't.
They say,
I want them to
we
read.
had a lot of trouble with
I have
it.
fun with
Yeah.
it.
Well, I'd give them,
Why
in your
wouldn't
case,
I don't care.
for being honest, at least. They could just make up a bunch
Yeah.
of stuff.
Oh, yeah,
they
a
could
lot of
say,
psychics are
Abraham
full of-
Lincoln standing over your
They
shoulder
are,
there.
a lot of
and-
them are
What? Full of. Well, yeah, I know.
I always
that.
make that very, very clear
I get
too.
that.
Everybody knows I do palm readings. Whenever I
Yeah.
read people's palms, I always make
So-
that
no,
very
so-
clear too. And people, and what are two things that people always like to know about when they're having their fortune told or their palm read or any of this stuff? They all like to know about romance and relationships and money. And I always tell people, if I see it there, I tell you. If I don't like to just make it up because it sounds nice. I don't want to tell you that in 2
Right.
years from now,
See,
some
that's
unexpected money's going to come. Because you know what? You could start, if you want to do that, you want to do readings that way, you can be general enough to make a reading up that's going to be true for 90% of
Right.
the people.
Right.
You really can.
I could find a quarter on the
Con-
street. That'll be
con- common
unexpected
stuff.
money.
But you're gonna find the real deal and all that
Yeah.
kind of stuff. And when you know you found the real deal, they're fun to be with. But what's up?
Do you have one of these on yours? Because that happened to me, and then I clicked it, and it kind of... Yeah, mine just did that, too. Okay, well, don't worry. As long as you can still hear us.
Kind of.
Okay, all right.
I can hear you better. Like
You just hear us better this way? Okay, fine. All right, as long as you can, yeah. But you're coming over. Say something on the mic, Chase.
hello.
Yeah, you're fine. You're coming over the mic. Yeah, so you're okay, yeah.
No, I hear him too.
Just having a little technical trouble there, yeah.
That's not him, though. It's his doppelganger.
Yeah.
His doppelganger came out.
But no, this
The real
happens.
Jason's
Now,
fine.
many years ago, this is over 30 years ago, I went to go see a very, very well-known psychic. I don't even... I'm sure she's passed away. Irene Hughes.
Oh, yeah.
And I went to see Irene
see,
Hughes. Like a bunch of us went after
She to
work.
me's a fake and a phony.
Well-
I had a reading done by her. My
was-
girlfriend paid for it. None
well,
of it came true.
Well, I'll tell you one thing she did tell me.
Not all it means that it's going to come
One thing I
true.
will tell you.
There's the one that could supposedly read me, right? None of it came true.
I'll tell you this. One thing she did tell me, she says, I just can't really get anything on you. I really can't. She's the only thing I do see that I want to tell you about is you somehow have a connection with the sea and with ships and through a disaster. Somehow you're connected with this.
Yeah.
And she says, I would just suggest that you not cross over the water.
Yeah.
That's what she told me.
Good
well,
advice
and then
there.
I'm thinking, well, of course, what she's picking up on is the Titanic. I've always been a Titanic
Right, yeah.
aficionado.
Right,
I belong
exactly.
to the Titanic Historical Society. So I thought, okay, she's picking up on this, but yet anything else, she's unable to see it. She warned me about not crossing the water. Well, I did. I've been across
Don't cross
the Atlantic,
stream.
and I've been to places where I've crossed water and that, and nothing happened. But maybe it was just in that time frame or whatever. But anything else, she was unable to tell
Her I
me.
throw away. I'm sorry.
Yeah,
You know
there
what I
are,
mean?
there's good ones.
You
too,
got
bad
to
ones, yeah.
find one that you really
Yeah.
trust and know.
Yeah, oh yeah.
Have you ever
Don't-
had Mihaela read for you, Bob?
No, I've
No.
never had it. I've been there when she's been doing her little reading things
Yeah.
and that, where she stands up there and, oh, hi, so and so, and
Yeah.
I know this and.
No,
all
I'm
that
just
and the other.
curious if you ever
Yeah.
had her read for you.
Yeah, no, I never
So-
had her read for me. Maybe one day I'd like her to do it and see what she comes up with.
Yeah.
But see, the trouble is now, people like I know Mahaley, she knows me. You know so many things about.
Exactly.
there's the
Yeah,
trouble.
yeah.
That's
And that's
true,
why
yeah.
even when I do like palm readings, I'd much rather do it on people I don't know
Exactly.
than people I do.
I don't know how you could keep doing that because what if you got bad information? Meaning, not
Okay, so I'll
not
be honest
meaning
with
anything
you.
true, but like
I'll be honest with you. There have been times where I had. There have been times where I've been doing a
you
reading
can't
for
tell
someone.
them.
No, what I do,
Yeah.
you know
You're
what I
not
do?
supposed to.
No, no.
Yeah, well,
No, here's the way I do it. I tell it
I'm
as
afraid
a
of
warning.
screwing up the timeline,
tell-
but
I-
I don't like telling people
No,
anything.
I tell them it this way as a warning. And just to give you a little example, and this one has happened to me quite frequently, where I see something about some money coming to somebody's way, and I can see it. Not you. And I can see it where the money's coming, and I can see part of this money being a good thing, but part of it being a bad thing, either squandered or used for something, loaned to someone and lost, somehow invested. And I tell them this, and I say, okay, it's a twofold thing. But I said, now, when this is going to happen, I can try and give you a time frame on it, but if this happens a year or 2 years down the line for whatever, if you remember this, you have the power to change it. So when you do see this little check come for these extra couple $100 or whatever it is, you can say, all right, I'm going to watch this now, and I'm not going to do anything unwise with it, and you can actually change it yourself. So I kind of give it to them as a little warning that way. I've never seen anything horrible, like I've seen someone actually walking off a cliff and falling to their death or anything like that, or a plane crashing, nothing like that. Quite honestly, with a palm reading, I don't think you get that kind of information. I don't.
Maybe you will.
I don't know. And I always like to tell people that I'm
what
not
you're
a psychic.
doing, it's just a tool. You're the real,
Well, people- now,
instrument.
see, this is
like
the other
the
thing that
cards in palm, holding somebody's hand. Wow, what do you do it to me?
This is the other
It's
thing.
really within you.
Well, this is what
So-
people tell me, and I always like to tell people no. I like to tell them I don't have any special powers. I'm not any kind of a wizard or anything like that. I'm reading what I'm seeing there. But they say, but I've had people tell me, they say, no, you are an intuitive. You don't like to admit it, but you are. Well, I don't think so. I don't like to make that claim. Because basically what I say is I'm reading it. But they say, yeah, but you know, you're seeing more than what's there. You really are.
Well,
You're telling me
Bob,
things.
that's what being a psychic is what comes to your head. There's no rhyme or reason. It's what,
Well,
what
I
comes
see
to
it.
you. That's
I
what
see
happens.
it, and then
That's what it
sometimes
is.
what I'm seeing there, it's sort of like you elaborate on it.
Yeah.
I don't see all these words written out.
Well, no, it's
You know,
your
I
feeling.
can't-
It's your
you know,
feeling and the vibration
See, I
that
can't say
person's
how other
giving
people do.
off.
Now, good psychic, bad psychic. Okay, yeah, well, we've all been to them. We've been to some that were good. We've been to some that were just horrible. I had some people. One I went to. Well, I didn't really go to them. They sort of came to me, and it was two girls that do it.
Something like that to
And
me.
they have,
right?
they have
They
a
always
and I
come to
won't
you.
say what their
Yeah.
title is, but there's two of them that do it, and they work as a team on this. Well, you tell me what you think of this. Oh yes, I'm seeing a woman, and the woman is dressed like a house dress with an apron, and in the apron she has candy. And when you were little, she always liked to give you candy. She liked to do this, and I see her baking pies and making. Well, someone of my age would have had a grandmother.
Sounds
and
like my
had someone
grandma.
Exactly.
that looked
Exactly.
like that. At one time, all grandmas looked that way.
Right.
Really
So
tell me
that's
more.
kind of
Yeah.
general enough to be true for 85-90% of the people that are in their 60s or older. you know.
Right.
That's how our grandmas used to look. So it's kind of general that way. So you just kind of agree with them. Yeah, okay, fine. But you're really not.
Right.
Now, tell me something else. Tell me something about my mother and father. Tell me something that I don't know. Yeah. Just a strange thing that I do, and I don't know. I always throw this one out there, and I don't know of anybody else that does this but me. But I remember the clothing that people are buried in, and I don't know why I do this. And I've done it
That's
since I'm a
interesting.
little kid. I can tell you all the way back to people that have died in the 70s when I was a kid, like in my.
Maybe it used to be an undertaker.
I don't know.
Maybe.
Even someone like
It's in your
people that
blood.
are, like a friend or somebody at work or something that's an acquaintance, and I go out of respect to visit their mother passes away or something like that. 5 years later, I could tell you what they were buried in,
That's
and I
crazy.
don't know why I do that.
Wow.
I don't know why. Yeah, that's the strangest thing, and I don't. I've talked to many
You
people.
said this before. I remember on that show you
And
told
I always throw this one out because I want to see if there's anybody else that has the same thing.
No.
But for some reason, I can do
that
that.
kind
I
of
don't-
stuff. No,
I don't know
not to
why.
me.
Yeah.
Like,
That's your gift, Bob.
It is. Yeah. It's a gift.
It's either
True
it's either
gift.
I have a strong fashion sense, which I don't think I do,
Yeah.
or I just I don't know. I don't know what it is.
Yeah, learning a lot
The
about each
Dead
other today.
Fashion by Bob.
But it's only people that are dead.
Yeah.
Someone is waked. You know what I'm talking about.
Right,
You go
yeah.
to the visitation.
Yeah,
and
exactly.
they're laid out there in their casket. I can tell you what their clothes are. And
That is
Wow.
crazy.
I
It
don't
is.
know why. Yeah,
Could just be
weird.
you're in a heightened state. Maybe
It
that's how
could
your
be.
memory helps.
I don't know.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know
Works
why.
better
Yeah,
that way.
yeah. Just a strange thing. And I've talked to many people, but sorry I haven't found anybody else that has done that. Not that it's
Yeah.
anything magical or anything, but just something.
Right.
No,
that I
you
do.
mean
Right.
clothing? Just
Their clothing, but they were laid out in.
But
they
just
were
being
wearing, they were
at-
wearing
you
a
do
mint
that-
green,
you do this
they were
at
wearing a
weddings,
mint-
by the
a
way?
mint- A mint green
Or-
dress. It was a mint green dress. It had a chiffon cape over across the neckline. There was a small pearl necklace. And they had
oh
earrings.
wow, that's
And they-
everything.
That's
That's
pretty
even
good.
jewelry, man.
That is pretty good.
That's
And
everything.
if it's a full body view, which some of them aren't, because like
Yeah.
the casket's usually
Yeah.
half closed, I can
Right.
tell you the shoes and everything
Wow.
else. The whole thing.
Wow.
Yeah. Weird. I don't know why.
Mhm.
I'll
Yeah.
say.
Dun, dun, dun.
Yeah.
Don't know.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Time travel.
Interesting.
Time travel. Do you think it's a possibility?
Absolutely.
Has anybody seen the Charlie Chaplin film?
Which one?
Oh,
If you go up on YouTube, The Circus, the
Yeah.
Chaplin film with the lady on the walkie-talkie.
I'm like,
What is
whatever
she
with that.
talking on?
I don't know, but I'm just whatever about it.
1927. It's a premiere of Chaplin's film The Circus, and there's a lady. We think it's a lady anyway. We really can't see the face. Dressed in garb of the era.
Could be a
you know,
prop that she's holding.
garb
or
of the era, and she's
freaking
definitely
hearing aid of some kind. Who knows? I don't know.
talking on something. You can't see what she's holding, but she's holding it up to her head, up to her ear, and she's talking
I've seen
on
it.
something.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Now,
I haven't seen it
walkie-talkies
either,
weren't
no.
even around in
No.
1927.
No.
What the heck was she talking on? They say she's a time traveler. She's talking on some communicative device.
So what did the people who made the film say about it?
Those people aren't around. This is
Right.
1927.
Oh,
That's
okay.
why
You
I
know?
like to
So it
meet
was
somebody
noticed
who
like
was
years
part of
later.
the industry.
Yeah. And it's actually not like a film, like a feature film type thing or anything. It's people that they were filming going in to see the Chaplin film, like a
okay.
premiere
I mean,
type thing.
if you're holding it to your ear, it's audio of some kind, right? It's not
No,
like it was
it's a
cold
silent-
out.
silent
It's a
film.
silent
Yeah,
film.
that's
It's
right.
silent.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
I didn't think
Yeah.
of that.
It's silent.
It's
You
warm.
can't hear anything.
No, I meant the lady.
Silent.
The lady's listening to something.
She's either listening or talking to something.
That's what I'm saying. It's
Yeah.
audio related.
Yeah.
So
Just to switch your headsets here. Let's see if that one works better for you, Jason.
how about you just go out to Bachelor's Grove, man?
Oh, I've had, now the experiences I've had at Bachelor's Grove have all been
Time
different-
is wonderful out
different.
there.
Oh yes, I think definitely that there's something
And it's-
with time there.
it's
with
more
time, yeah.
badass these
Out of
days.
out of one experience that I had in particular at Bachelor's Grove Cemetery. Now my experiences at the Grove are none of the famous ones. I don't see the woman in white. I don't see the house. I don't see the demon, and I don't see the man with the plow and all those. I see other things.
Yeah, I
see
never
other
gave that
things.
place a chance. I went there once for about 20 minutes, and that was it.
Yeah,
so.
that's Jason. You haven't been there that much yet.
No, I mean we
Pete's
went
gotta
there
take
one
us
time.
there for a
You
tour.
Oh,
would-
Pete
you would
is-
probably do good
Yeah.
if you spent
Pete
like
knows
6
every
to
blade
8
of
hours
grass.
out.
The creepiest
walking
thing I ever
around.
had happen to me out in Bachelor's Grove is I had left a meter there, and I went back to retrieve it. This was toward like the sun was
Getting
going
dusky.
down.
Yeah. Okay.
All of a sudden, some man came out of nowhere, and he's like, "You looking for something?"
Wow.
I'm like, yeah, I left like a little K2 meter. He's like, "Is it gray?" I'm like, "Yeah."
He had it in his hand.
Picked
And
it up,
he's
huh?
like, he took it out of his back pocket. He goes, "Here." He's like, "I'm the unofficial caretaker
Oh, I know
of
who
the
that guy
cemetery."
is. Was he dressed in his
And
overalls?
yes, he
Okay.
started taking me around and showing me
Yep.
foundations, the
Creepy
houses,
Yeah,
ass
yeah, I
stuff.
know who he
What
is.
is
Yeah.
You met Richie.
I think that's what he said his
Yep,
name.
I know
he
him.
appears and disappears.
Well, he
He's done
came
it to
on-
me.
He does
he
the
was-
same
Oh, he's a
thing.
dead
He
guy?
does the same
That-
thing you do,
he-
Jason.
No, he's
What?
alive.
He
Yeah.
came out of
Appears
nowhere.
and
I don't know
disappears. Comes out of
where he
nowhere.
came from.
He does the same thing you
People
do.
appearing in more than one location at the same time. out
Yeah.
Oh,
there.
he's one of them.
Now, isn't
He's
this
one of 'em.
is this just not the same experience that we were talking about with Jason?
Right.
Same thing.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah. He does that. Yeah.
And,
So
that's-
he
and you
frequents-
mentioned
he
that it was
frequents that
the reason I
place
asked you
often?
why it happened too, like you said last year and stuff like that. If you get involved in this weirdness world of this kind of a topic, people have been saying this was going to be happening. That timelines were going to be intermingling, and now is that during that period. I don't know if you know this, but this is part of the topic, right? And so I find it very interesting as it was happening. We were seeing people appear and I've been seeing people appear and disappear even outside of Bachelor's Grove, and I'm not one to see people. You know, I've seen other weird stuff. You know, and so to see the same person, you know, walk around, you know, they walk around a corner into a room and boom, they're not there. You know what I mean? But no, they're over there.
Well,
So
there's
it was outside Bachelor's Grove. So I
Okay.
mean, all this is happening all at once and during a period of time where supposedly this was going to be happening, according to this information coming from all these sources. Okay, because we're going. It's a really weird topic. You know, you think just talk about ghosts is you know one thing. Man, this will make your head spin.
See, that's another thing that I like to do too. Now, just like we were talking about readings, I said I'd much rather do a person I don't know, to do a reading on a person like that, somebody I don't know and I don't know anything about them. Likewise too with locations. It's better going into a location cold turkey. I don't know anything
Yeah,
about it.
not knowing
You know, if it's one of the more famous locations and that kind of thing, I know that people have seen this here,
Right,
experienced
right.
that, so you're kind of looking for that type of thing.
Right.
Usually something else happens, but to me anyway. But it's better going in not knowing about it. Yeah.
That's what I like about the Grove. I tell people, they ask me, what's
Yeah.
going on with this place? I don't want to tell you. I'd rather see you go through something.
I
than
don't know
you
how
come
they
back
couldn't
to
know.
me
It's all
later.
over,
Yeah,
and so
it's
much
all
has been
over. It's
written and
in
rewritten and
almost
rewritten and rewritten.
everybody's
about it.
book
Hey,
is
there's a
in
lot of
Chicago
stuff
Haunts. It's
not
all in
print
there.
and not on video that's been happening out there, and eventually that'll come out.
Yeah. Well, it's up to you to write
But
it.
I want people to go out there themselves.
Why don't you write
Stories
some-
don't do shit. Okay, you have to have your own experience.
Yeah.
So
should
I
go
just
over
like
there.
go out there.
I should go over there.
Training
Yeah.
grounds. That
Oh,
place
for
is
you,
actually
I'd
a
like
training
I want to
ground.
be with you when you go.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I want to see what happens.
And it will suit you individually.
Now
I've come to terms with this aspect of the weirdness.
Yeah.
Okay.
one gentleman that I know, that matter of fact, the gentleman that I mentioned, Gary, had an experience with the yellow suit man. out there many years ago when he was with a friend. He saw the man, and he saw him. Half of them walked through the tree, and half of them didn't. The other guy saw nothing.
Wow.
The other guy saw nothing. He says, okay, I seen something here, right? Sure. Now, last year in May, I brought a group out. Gary happened to be there with his two little girls. He took them out there, and he had a group from they just all met. These people just all showed up, and I took them through on a walk through the Grove in it. And one person in particular that I really wanted her to come, because she's a very, very gifted medium, and I really wanted her to be there. She'd never been there before, and wanted her to experience. And she pulls me aside, and she's talking to me. She says, I'm seeing this man over here, and this man is he's right here, and he's walking right here, and he's like half the tree and half. I says, oh geez, she's seen the same thing he saw. How many years before? She's reinforcing it. Now they did not know, definitely did not know each other. She had never even been there before. She never heard this story before. She really didn't know that much about Bachelor's Grove, except that it was some sort of a psychic hotspot. She experienced it that day. Now no one else is seeing this. She saw it.
Now, when
right
people
person,
come, when people come to me with those
no.
similar stories, let's say within my family, I say, "Are you really seeing this, or is just an impression, a feeling?"
Yeah.
And when you get into it, no, they weren't really seeing it, but they're going along with some other information. So if you got a story like that, I don't know if that's just that they're picking up in the environment that this is something that has occurred, or will occur, or has been talked about, or some crap like that.
But how can you explain it like someone that's not even familiar with the stories, that sees it, experiences it, something like that? That's what's the tough part. If it's somebody that knows the stories and we know all about, like I said.
Did she say that you're talking about this is the yellow suit dude, right? Did she say he was in a yellow suit?
Yeah.
Okay.
She described them. She described exactly,
And according to her, though, she really saw it.
Oh yeah, she was seeing it right as we were speaking, right that time.
Right.
Now no one else is seeing this. She's calling me because she thinks I'm.
I'm not saying she can't do it. I have a problem in the field. I run into people okay, they say they see something, but sometimes it's they're not really seeing it.
She's an extremely gifted medium, very gifted, and everybody that was
doesn't
there
mean the
that
information
day,
ain't valid.
Everybody that was there that day, but I really wanted her to show, and I was very happy when I saw her come because I just know. I said there's going to be something she's going to pick up on, and lo and behold, she did.
But you wanted her to come with you. There was more to the story, right?
No, that was it.
Oh, this wasn't the one where you walked out in the back of the woods and people disappeared on you?
Oh no, that was many years ago. That
was before that.
Oh, that's about 20 years. That's about 20 years. That's what I think was a time thing. I think that was something to do with time because those guys were definitely not of the era that I was of or we were of at that time. Even 20 years ago, they were bell bottoms, t-shirts, cool autumn day, not even dressed for the weather, that type of thing like that. And they just went out of nowhere, just nothing. I mean, I saw them 1 second, and just as fast as you blink your eyes, they were just gone. And for my my very first impression about the experiences was they're playing a trick on me. They're laying down somewhere. They're hiding behind a tree or something.
Well, no, you're going to get rational.
You know what I'm even doing? Then
Yeah,
I'm looking up like
right.
this. I'm looking. Did they go up in a tree or something?
Right.
And then I'm thinking, now, how could they do this that quickly? Nothing.
Once you rationally
Can't find hide or
separate
hair of 'em.
everything,
No.
I mean, I guess you can continue to say, it's just one of those things. And you walk away
Well,
and you think it's nothing.
As an investigator, a
There is something
paranormal
to
investigator,
it.
we all do that. You all try to debunk these things.
Sure as
first.
hell hope you do.
And exactly. And you try to say, okay, what actually caused this? Is somebody pranking me? Is it a joke? Is it something with the lights? Is it whatever?
And we may never fully understand it, but we should be able to accept certain aspects of it.
When you go through all this and you have no explanation, but you say, okay, I had something out of the normal here. This is something definitely paranormal.
Like for you.
Yeah, and hopefully you have a
seeing
witness.
two of you. I
See,
wouldn't
not
call
like
it a
you.
ghost. Have
You're
you
very
died yet? Was it
fortunate
bad
that you've had a
omen?
witness. You're very fortunate. You had
So,
somebody witness it with you. And two credible people. Well, 1.5 anyway, but
I'm the half.
Tony will tell you he usually sends me into rooms to see if there's any activity. I usually can pick up on changes of environment or something.
Yeah.
He's just afraid. He wants you to go in there first. If you get knocked on the
Jason's
head or
going.
something,
Yeah,
don't
that's
come out.
true.
He turns around.
If he
and walks
doesn't come
away.
back out, we're not
that's it.
going
I'm out of here.
Gotta go.
I'm out of here. Yeah.
Come on, guys. We're going to another place.
I mean, we've been to Congress how many times together?
God,
About
so-
200
yeah,
times.
so
Stuff
many
happens
times.
with me all the time.
Yeah.
We're
More
This
so
was
like-
actually a World's Fair hotel, wasn't it?
Yes, it was built for the World's Fair.
World's Fair, yeah, World's Fair Hotel, 1893.
So when people see ghostly, supposed ghostly activity there, nobody's ever thinking that it's not an imprint, but real time, just a different time.
That's what ghosts are, aren't they, Pete?
No, well, then that means we're ghosts.
Well, not necessarily, because we're not of another time. We are here right now.
All this is taking place.
Right now, it's 8
And an
o'clock.
hour from now,
It's
that
8
has already
o'clock Monday
taken
night,
place.
January 14th, and we're sitting here talking. Now, if it was 7:30 and the clock is showing 8 o'clock, and we're here talking, all right, there's like a half an hour here we can't account for. But when you're seeing a ghost, aren't they just residual?
No.
They're not
Not
residual.
necessarily. Why would you necessarily just right away do that? I could see why people used to do that. I don't know why people still do that.
So
That's the one thing everyone still keeps thinking it's some sort of residual thing.
aren't a lot.
Why
of
can't
that?
people just accept that time is a lot more mysterious and magical?
Okay, but now I'm not talking necessarily. Well, I guess time
Because
and
if
ghosts
I know
are-
what you're going to do an hour from now, that means it's predetermined. That means it's already taken place.
I think we're talking about two different things.
No, why would it be two different things?
No, well, we'll see.
If I'm at Bachelor's Grove, I have a talk in there, and then somebody comes up to me and says, "Hey, I just ran into you on the path. How'd you get here so fast?"
Okay.
Okay, I was in two
Yeah,
places at the same
that's
time.
kinda
That's
like
the
what
time
happened
travel.
with
That's,
that.
what
That's
he's
what I'm
talking about.
saying.
Now, if you're
Right.
in Bachelor's Grove and all of a
If-
sudden you see the yellow
But see,
suit man
but
walk through
luckily-
a tree, that's a different thing.
Luckily, it's the same person you're seeing it in two different spots, so that you get to wrap your mind around something, right?
But now,
But then you go ahead and you see something like, wait, I just saw some dude, and he had clothes that was just invented yesterday. Let's just, for hypotheticals, whatever.
yeah.
He had clothes that were just released yesterday, and he disappeared. Well, he's not a dead dude. Probably not. So it's probably a time thing.
Yeah.
That's more acceptable, and because maybe I threw the clothes thing in there. But
But
you know what I mean?
But I'm saying, there are two different. There's a couple of different kind of haunts, of course. We do have, and eventually they say,
You're
well,
calling it haunt like it's a residual thing. Now, if there's a repeating thing,
That's what I'm talking about.
Okay.
A repeating situation where it's doing the same thing over and over.
and I
again
could
that
see
it's
why
done.
people would come up with a theory that it's something charged in the environment,
Yeah,
so to speak.
it's sort of
and
frozen.
I'll play
It's sort
along
of
with that
frozen
for,
there,
for the
whatever,
moment.
and like
I
a
get
movie,
it.
it's played
If
back,
it kept
you know.
repeating
when
the
it's
same
when
thing.
it's the right person or
Okay.
the right conditions or whatever. It just
How many of
wants
these
to-
are truly repeating, though? I mean, just because
Well-
you see an old man walk in a room and sit down on something, you know.
Well, it's repeating if you get different people that see the same thing,
Exactly.
doing the same thing. People see the same man walking into the room and sit down on the chair and get up and walk through the door, and they go look for him and he's gone.
But what are the small,
Now, someone
subtle
else has said,
differences?
okay, there's a man that
Was
comes
his
in-
arm swinging one moment? Or this
Well, there
arm
might
one
be
moment?
differences, but it might
Nobody's
not.
really, you know what I mean?
It might just be the
They
same
just
thing.
assume, oh, it's just some ghostly
Yeah.
thing, and then it's just residual playing
I
back.
see your point totally.
Yeah.
Yeah.
People probably just don't look at that.
They probably don't look as
see what
closely
they
at
Maybe
see.
that.
not,
Yeah.
well, you know what it is when
Yeah.
you're seeing
The
something
little
like that. I think
details.
you're just so amazed at what you're
Right,
seeing.
yeah.
Oh, yeah.
You're not looking at
Caught
all those
off
little
guard,
details.
too, yeah.
Right.
You're not looking at them little details.
Right,
Well, I
yeah.
don't know
Yeah.
about that part, but
But people do notice the clothing. They notice
Yeah.
facial features. They notice the descriptions right away. They notice that. However, now if the person is holding their hand with two fingers out or the whole hand and they're waving or something, well, people may not
Well,
notice
that's-
those
yeah.
things. You know?
Nobody's looking at that.
Yeah.
yeah.
They're looking at what the descriptions and that kind of thing like that. So same people see the same description, same person doing the same thing. It's a residual haunt. They're seeing the
I
same
mean,
thing.
they'll say they'll go out to Gettysburg and they'll see people.
Oh, yeah.
A soldier staring back at them.
Yeah.
That's not residual. That's
That's
a
accurate.
soldier seeing something. You are recognizing each other on the battlefield, but you're in one timeline. He's dressed like something, whether it's a reenactment from another timeline from yesterday or 100 years ago, so to speak.
Well, what is the guy dressed
But
in?
they're both like a Civil War soldier,
Well,
so
then
to
it's
speak.
obviously something from a couple hundred
His
years
time.
ago.
Well, no,
Yeah.
not obvious because
Yeah.
it could have been a reenactment guy. And suddenly, well, in theory, whatever the case may
Yeah.
be, you just saw somebody dressed like a soldier. Here you are. You both recognize, lock eyes, so to
Yeah.
speak, recognize each other, and boom, that person disappears. Maybe you
It's a
disappear to them.
possibility.
But that to me is a cognitive. That is not a residual thing in the environment. That is you are recognizing each other. That's not a static thing in the environment. That's you. You know what I mean? That seems to me more time, right there. That's not.
The eye contact thing hasn't happened to me yet. I don't even know
No,
how to
me either.
conceive that. So
Many times,
I don't
with-
know
with
how that
many,
would work.
with many of these
you know,
time travelers,
That hasn't
ghosts,
happened
whatever
to
you
me.
would prefer to call them, a lot of times facial features aren't even seen.
Well,
Mhm.
the
See
Richie
facial
thing, I
features.
told you met Richie in the
Yeah.
overalls. He locked eye. Well, he had sunglasses, but he locked on me, and he's looking right at me. He's walking toward me. Okay, that's when he disappeared anyway. But it's like there's a recognition there. You know what I mean?
a lot of stuff is really quick. I mean,
yeah.
Right, yeah,
I mean,
usually
it's
it's
just
very
a blink of an
quick.
eye.
Yeah.
It's just a few
Shadow
seconds.
people.
Yep.
I mean, you'll see
Yeah.
them bouncing.
Many
in
people,
and out.
many
It's
people
just-
now that
it's-
I've spoken with about the Resurrection Mary sightings, which lately there haven't been too many of them, but of the 33 people now, because I got one a while back, a new one. Many people that I've spoken to about that, it's seconds.
Yeah.
Now, in those seconds, some people come up with a real good description. Other people are a little more vague about it. Well, sometimes some people are just a little more observant than other
Right.
people.
Yeah.
Some people are very detailed about the clothing, the
Right.
hairstyle, the everything,
Yeah.
all that. And other people said, yes, she was just, we saw her for a second, and she just wasn't there anymore then, and that was it. But yet other people see the same thing. And
Well,
they
what about
really-
those that have danced with her? And
Well, now
the
that's
Jerry
a-
Palis
well,
story.
yeah, now that's
yeah.
that's the Jerry Palis story. As far as I know, he's the only one that has danced with her. I haven't talked to anybody else that's actually had that kind of contact with her. Yeah, I've never, most of the people it's been a sighting. Yeah. The only other person out of 33 people that I've talked to that claimed to have had that sort of a close encounter, if you want to call it such, with the Resurrection Mary was, and he didn't actually even see her, but he says he firmly believes she sat in his car because there was like an imprint there, and he had no explanation for it, and he says he firmly believes she
Because
was
he
there.
drove by the place
but
when
then
that
left.
happened or something?
Well,
Yeah.
I've told this.
Well, weren't there some cab drivers that picked her up?
Yeah, there's a few stories about
I've
The
heard
that.
a
one
few
in
of
front of the
stories, but I don't know
Willowbrook
how valid they
Ballroom.
are.
But
Or not the
this
ballroom,
gentleman
the
happened to be driving
coffee
down
house.
Archer Road, driving down, and then all of a sudden something seemed to be going funky with the car.
Sure.
So he pulls the car off to the side to one of the monument companies to take a look and see, geez, there's something on the tire or something's going on here. Well, when he gets out of the car, the courtesy light in the car goes on, and he looks over at the passenger side seat, and he sees like a wet imprint on the seat
Nice.
and on the back.
Nice.
As if someone that was wet clothing or whatever
Yeah.
sat
I wouldn't
there.
assume it's Resurrection
Obviously.
Mary, but
Yeah.
whatever.
Well,
I mean, there's still something obviously going
So
on.
okay, first he looks at the car and everything, and then he goes back and he looks at this, and he says, "I'm looking at, is the window open here, or something leaking from the top?
Good
All the
job
stuff,
going through the cognitive thing here. Yeah,
something
got it.
leaking
Yeah.
that would cause it, because when something gets wet, it's a little thing, and then it gets real big, and it makes a
Mm-hmm.
big spot. He couldn't find anything that would have done it. Then he says he firmly believed that it was a Resurrection Mary encounter, and she just left the car before.
See,
he was
that's
able
when
to
you end up
see
with
her.
the Resurrection Mary theory. Then it's just like
I don't know.
Yeah, come on.
Yeah.
Yeah, but nonetheless,
there's
they've
not enough
given
there
it that
for me,
one
buddy.
and
Come
kept
on,
it,
Yeah.
But, Yeah.
I mean, I've been around where I laid in the bed and it just out of nowhere, some like fat dude just sat in the bed, so to speak.
okay.
I mean, it was still down. And I'm used to some of this stuff, so I didn't go running out the room. But I'm like, it startled the shit out of me. I'm like,
Oh, sure.
and I look, I'm like, oh.
It's that
well,
surprise.
Whoever you
something
are,
you're not expecting, and
whatever,
then it
man.
happens. Yeah, it's that surprise. Yeah.
You're funny. I like how your eyes shift.
Yeah.
Like, I wonder if this guy's full of it.
B?
Yeah.
What do you be full of what?
I don't know. You got
I'm
that
not full of
shifty eye
it.
thing. Like, I don't know if
I'm
I.
just
Is
listening
Pete
and
spinning
laughing.
a yarn?
He just listening
Julius
in.
listens
Yeah.
to a lot.
He does
He
listen.
takes it
Yeah.
all in. He listens.
That's
to
why
all
I
that
want to
stuff.
take you into some stuff.
I'm ready.
Yeah.
I'm not scared of anything.
But you don't want to bring it home.
Huh? No, I don't take anything home with me.
Then you're not fully ready.
No, I don't want to take anything home with me.
But you do need some practice. You need to work you in.
The only thing I want to take
He's
home
been
with me
to a
is
lot
what
of
I
places.
came with. That's it.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
all I
What?
want to take home. What I came with, I want to
Yep,
take back, and that's
exactly.
I
it.
tend to bring stuff home with me
That's good.
Yeah.
unintentionally.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm telling him all the time. Like my
That's good
closet,
training.
my bedroom closet light will randomly go on and off.
Nice.
And like a couple times I've woken up to somebody like over here, and I'm like,
Just another day in the hood.
yeah.
You're
You
just
know?
one of those people.
Yeah.
Maybe you're just more
More open to it.
Yeah.
More
more
attracted
open to
to
more in
it.
tune with it. Yeah.
There's probably something.
Mm.
Yeah.
Yeah, outside of my house, I'll deal with it.
Yeah.
When I walk through my
See, I
doors,
say this
it's
with haunts
mine.
too. Like so you
Now
have-
that to me is walls. There is a mental component to this phenomena, all different kinds.
Now, when you were with him,
And
and
that-
he
that-
got
that will
down
hurt
the
you.
hall, did the
What's
other
that?
people?
I know you don't like it at
experience the
home,
same thing?
but it actually will hurt you.
Yeah,
if you
the
have
lady
it.
So
next
all-
to me
so
and
everything
another
experiences
person
in
saw
general.
it.
So
The ones
two.
closest to the where he was.
So the other people didn't
I
see it
know.
just
the
because they were
ones
far
further
enough back they
didn't
couldn't
see it.
see it.
Yeah, or they weren't paying
But people
attention.
that were close enough
Yeah.
experienced the same thing.
Yeah,
Okay, so
because we kind of looked at each other like, you
what
know,
the
where
heck?
is he
How did
going?
this
Why
happen?
is he
Yeah,
going
right,
that
yeah,
way?
Yeah, yeah.
Hmm.
Okay.
Go ahead, Pete.
That fear, so to speak, whatever level of fear it is, that fear of it, you don't want it at home. It can be just enough to block you from having a normal, if it makes sense, normal paranormal experience. And there's a big mental component thing going on with this stuff, and so that just
Well,
that can inhibit you,
Well, it's just
not prevent you entirely.
Well, no, but I just like work. I don't take it home with me, and I'm not going to take a paranormal home with me. That's why when I walk into my house and lay in my bed, I don't want to deal with it. Even though I've had dreams and everything else, but I rid them. I don't want to have it in my house. I mean, when I was doing the Echo Vox in my house, I was having shadow people. I got rid of them. It's quick. I didn't do anything paranormal in my home.
Is
no
this
more.
not your classic fear of the unknown? Do you think
I'm
it's
not
gonna
fearing.
harm
I'm
you?
not fearing it. I just don't want it in my home
You're
with
just
my
uncom-
family.
You're just generally
John?
uncomfortable with it. Okay.
Yes, with,
John,
with my family.
John,
Mr. John?
is it all right if we run a little over here? Okay, all right. Yeah, I don't want to keep you, if you've got something going on. Okay.
I
no, fine.
love the paranormal, everything.
Yeah,
See, I'm the same way too. I don't want to, I don't want to say turn it on, turn it off type of thing like that. But there's times I want to get away from it. I don't want to just live, sleep, breathe, and eat paranormal.
I gotta just let it
24/7.
in. I tried blocking it sometimes, and it builds up like a dam.
That's yeah. See, I'm like him. I don't nothing
What
I've
you
had some
just said
experience at
is
home,
how
but I don't
I
think it's
feel.
anything I ever
Building
brought
up like a
home.
dam?
Right.
No, me
Yeah.
neither.
I think it might be a
I don't
relative
think I've
or
ever brought
something.
anything.
And then
No, I
all
don't think
comes
I've ever
out
brought
at
anything
once.
home either.
No.
I don't do anything. We do investigations, and nothing will happen to him. Nothing will happen to him. I'll wake up in the middle of the night and be like, "Holy crap! Like, what happened?" Like, I don't know why. I don't know.
But I'm wondering, is that something that's related to that investigation, or is it just something maybe from before? What I don't know.
We did an investigation at a cemetery in Elgin, and and our K2 meters were going off in my hand as we were leaving, and I said, as we always do, you can't come home with us, you must stay there. And like 2 days later, I had a girl in my bedroom. Whoa. I had a little girl in my bedroom from.
Oh, now it's a little girl. Now it's
complaining
getting worse.
There's a little girl spirit from story
I
about
was gonna say, I don't know if
cemetery.
Mrs. Sherman would approve of this,
Yeah.
but
And
Okay.
I saw her appear at the foot of the bed. And I did have a dream about the little girl trying to like lure me back into the cemetery like a day before that. So,
okay.
like, did I invite anything?
So
No.
what you're saying, at one point you were awake when you saw her at the end of the bed, and you also had
Yes.
a dream. Okay.
Jason,
Okay.
did the girl have any limbs missing?
Oh my goodness.
No.
Okay, just wanted curious because there is a girl up on top. There's like a. I would have to show you where it's at because Maggie and myself went in there one time, and we heard music playing.
Oh yeah, I know it's
That-
monument
that-
you're talking
that
about.
little
Yeah,
girl
yeah,
up
the
there,
little girl up
and
there.
She had a limb or something missing.
Right,
like
yeah.
that. I was just curious if that was the girl. That's all.
Is the limb missing, or maybe you're just not seeing?
Well, no,
the
they
person?
have the limb missing on the statue.
Yeah.
Oh, I see.
That's
Okay.
why I was asking. Maybe it
Oh.
was that girl. Not,
Oh.
that, yeah.
Yeah, but if the limb is missing on the statue, if she appears, she wouldn't necessarily have. A limb
I was
missing.
just
Yeah.
curious. I didn't know neither. That was just a question. So.
But this is
And
why
you're
I've been-
correct. You're
This is
correct.
why I've
You
been
know, I'm just,
struggling with. Like, stuff happens to me all the time.
Oh, yeah.
Unknowingly.
Yeah.
It doesn't happen to them. I don't know why.
Do you feel like you're learning anything from it, though?
It's a constant learning experience.
Yeah, it is.
I agree.
But do you
know,
think you are learning anything from it?
That's what attracted me to the paranormal in the first place.
Yeah.
There was
It's
a
just
lot of
happening.
things I just could not.
Right, you couldn't explain.
Coincidence. Okay, how much this can happen? It can be blown off as coincidence. It's not. There's more to this. There's something more to it. It's something that deserves a serious study and a serious looking into. My
Brings me
feelings on
back
it.
to deja vu. So if anybody's been having your deja vu experiences, just pay more attention to it.
Oh yeah. See,
Let's
now I
just be
used
more
to
open
get
to
deja
why
vu
it's working.
much more often than I do now. I'm slowing up on my deja vu now. But I used to get it quite well. We know the mic's working real good there.
Yeah.
We know that. Yeah. I used to get that quite frequently. Now not so much, but I do from time to time still get it, and I say, "Oh God, here it goes again."
I guess it's paying attention to it too.
You should pay attention to
I
it.
mean, because
Yeah.
I used to actually get it a lot when I was younger, but now I'm older. I am more concentrated on work and business and
Right.
everything else.
More than likely,
You're
it's
still young.
something that you picked up in your sleep, a form of time travel, and that you found it interesting, whatever this particular moment was.
right.
And when after you woke up and you went through the time and you caught up with that time, there's a reason why you're going through that rush and that experience. Pay attention to that. You picked that out. There was something interesting about it. There's a reason why you're having that deja vu. So it may not be what's going to happen that very second.
Is
it
it just
might
a
be
warning,
what's
or-
going to in a minute or an hour from then.
Yeah, I haven't. I can't tell you the last time I had a deja vu though. It was, a lot of it was in my younger ages. And
Yeah,
a lot,
Yeah,
I
me
mean, a
too.
lot.
More, yeah, that's what I'm
Me
saying,
too, it was
much
more when I was
frequently
younger.
If you take
Now,
a
I'm getting older,
melatonin
not so frequent.
supplement, and
No.
we're talking a really good one, not some Jewel brand or GNC crap. If you find yourself a really good pure melatonin, try that. That's all I'm going to tell you right now. Give it a try. I had to kick it back to half a pill. Okay,
Dude.
but at a certain point you can't do it anymore. If
Why
you're
were you
sensitive,
taking? Why were you taking melatonin?
it started as an
Helps you
experiment.
sleep.
Well, a
Well,
buddy of
so-
mine gave it to me when we went out west. He's like, "Here, try for jet lag." I'm not even tired, but I took it anyway. After I woke up, I knew something was a little different about my sleep pattern. Something very interesting in a mystical way. And I thought, okay. So when I got back to Chicago, I bought a bottle. And I started taking it religiously every night. Now, I was a young dude when I started this. So I was already in a very healthy production of melatonin anyway. So I really kicked it up. And when I did that, you were sensitive to so much in your environment, and you were having deja vu like crazy. Like you should put me in a lab and study me. Like, what the hell is this? And it got so intense, I had to back off on it. And then finally, like years later, like some research in Europe came out, and they were talking about this, the melatonin affecting you. And so, anyways, if you want to have these experiences and you're not, you could try to get yourself some good melatonin.
A couple of years back, maybe maybe a little more than 3, maybe 4 years ago, after I had my surgery and some stuff done on my leg and all that and everything like that, I was on something. I don't even know what the doctors gave me. Whatever the painkiller or the sleep aid or whatever it was they gave me, took it, laid down, went to bed. I get up to go to the bathroom. I come back and I see a man sitting on my couch in the living room. Almost immediately, I just turn right around. I go into the kitchen. I get on the phone. I call my brother up. And I say, hey, Ray, there's something wrong. I says, there's a man sitting on the couch in my living room. He says, what? What's a man? He's my brother. What are you talking about? I said, there's a man on the living room couch. He says, well, if you got a man sitting on your couch, you don't know who it is. You don't call me. You call the police.
Mm-hmm. You were sleeping for how long before this?
I don't know.
Okay.
I don't know.
Whatever.
And I was out, and I woke up, and like I said, I got up, went to the bathroom, and I come back to go lay down, because I was slept on the couch. And there's a man, and there was like
Did the
another
man
couch in
recognize you or
there. No,
acknowledge
I don't know
you?
who he was.
No, you're just sitting there?
Just man,
Staring
just
off
sitting
into
there.
space or
Just sitting
something?
there, I'm sitting here, and there's another couch over here, and he's on that one, sitting there. And I get on the phone. I don't even think about it. I just turn right around, I walk, and I say, there's some man sitting
Obviously, he was solid and real looking, right?
apparently to me, but did I really see this, or was this by the, well,
So what happened? What happened? Did
nothing,
the guy leave?
Nothing. I just went back and laid down and forgot all about it, and that was
He
the
was
end of it. I never
gone.
saw him again.
He was like, forget this, I'm going back to bed.
Yeah.
And I just believed that it was something from the medication, obviously, or whatever it was.
Well, I mean,
yeah.
the medication could have made something more open.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
yeah,
I don't believe that was any sort of a paranormal.
That's why I was
experience.
curious how
believe it
long
was-
we were
yeah.
asleep and all that kind of stuff.
So that's why sometimes it's, when you start saying I took this or I took that, I took this and I took that,
Yeah.
Right.
You got to watch. I think we're going to be seeing a lot of this now with the marijuana legalization too.
Well, here's the thing too.
But the
I
marijuana
talk
just
to
sort of
people
mellows
about
you.
Yeah, it mellows
Yeah.
you.
It doesn't
It's
really
tired.
get
It makes
toward
you eat a lot.
the
Yeah.
deja vu thing, right? And melatonin. Some of these guys, like big stoners, I meet at the Grove. I mean, like right away, I know you get a lot of deja vu. 100% of the time, each one of these stoners. Yeah, I do. How'd you know? Okay, because you're but there's a memory problem, unfortunately.
With the weed.
Right. You may be increasing your melatonin output,
But
but
you're stopping stuff too.
You're
but
deadening
there's a
some other
memory
senses.
weird. So you'll have the experience, but it's going to be a little different than what you probably really want because you want to remember some stuff. You want to know more about that experience.
Yeah.
Where the stoned version, unfortunately, it just makes it literally makes
And
things
it's
a
not
little
even
cloudy.
hallucination. It's just slows you down. Everything. When you smoke weed, it slows you down.
That part, yeah. I'm talking about like you smoke it, you fall asleep, you wake up, that you fell asleep. So now when you're in a sleep state, there are periods when you are literally traveling through time. At least during that point, I know skeptical, but
I don't know. I can't answer the question. I
know,
don't pay
I
attention
know,
to
I
it.
know.
I haven't paid
Interesting
attention.
show. We
I
touched
got to
on-
give it
we
a minute
touched on
to
some
try
different
it.
stuff.
now,
Yeah.
now your
Yeah.
melatonin's increased. Now you're sleeping, but you're stoned. You got all this extra stuff in you, and so it altered the experience of the memory. Okay, so
I'll have to let you
it
know
does
what
take
happens
away
next
from part of the
time.
experience.
That's all I can tell you.
Yeah.
yeah, that's
that's
about
all
the
you do.
yeah,
Right.
yeah. Yeah, how do you explain these things? I mean, if you can say yes, it was something I took, and maybe that induced it. That
Right.
You may not be able to explain all of it.
No,
but
you can't.
You can get some tips.
yeah, you
Yeah,
can.
not once I
We could do a
disagreed,
whole
I don't
show
know.
on time travel and
Oh,
stuff.
goodness,
Oh,
That's
yes.
been me my whole
Sure,
lifetime.
absolutely. Yeah.
How the hell is it possible to know what's going to happen if you have free will? And I think for the most part, most of my life, I didn't believe in free will.
Is everything already
In fact, this scared
predetermined?
the hell out of
This
people
almost
when I
becomes a
talk to them.
religious question, then, too. Is everything already predetermined?
Well, that's
and
what it
preordained?
seems like to
And you
me.
can't really change it. You can't.
There are a few moments where
you can't
things got a
alter it.
little strange for me. I'm like, I'll be damned. You probably could change the timeline. So now I'm still careful. I mean, I don't like to tell people bad things that
if it was
happen to them.
possible for you to control it, and you could go back in time 53
I wouldn't.
years,
I wouldn't do it.
Could you control and maybe not have John F. Kennedy assassinated, and
But it could get more complicated, that question.
Then
a
you're
TV
messing
show.
with a whole
Because is
lot
that
of
really
history.
going to
Wasn't
affect
there an old
your,
TV show
your
about this?
timeline?
They're probably
they're
Where the guys went
yeah.
back in time and they tried to alter
try to
history.
alter
history
the-
and,
Yeah,
the
you'd be a
history.
powerful mother.
Was it in the 80s?
No, I think it was even earlier than that. Like when I was a kid. Oh, the time tunnel. The time. Anybody old enough to remember the time tunnel? Where the two men went back in
watched it.
time,
Yeah,
and they
I
were
may have seen
they
it.
it was Lincoln's assassination and the Titanic and all this. And they tried to alter it.
probably
And
did.
they
Alter
were
it.
unable to.
Yeah.
They were unable to. They could leave the situation, but they
I
couldn't
try to
change
keep
what was
up
going
on
to
my
happen.
time movies.
Yeah.
But-
Yeah.
So
Time
I
travel,
probably
yeah.
watched it once.
It's an interesting concept. I really firmly believe it is possible. It does happen. I don't think it's something you
To
can
me, it's at
control.
least possible.
I don't think you can turn it off and turn it on. But I think it's something
Turn it
that's.
on- what do you mean?
Well, I don't think you could say, okay, I'm going to have my experience now. And then is time travel also to an out of body? It could be a lot of different things. It can be a combination of things.
I think there's people out there that definitely can turn it on and off and like that. So,
I don't know. I don't know.
So-
I don't know if there's been enough serious scientific study done on it to be able to, might be
You
something-
just don't know
might be
about
something for you to
black
start the ball-
projects, man.
I was going to say, it might be something you want to start the ball rolling on.
No, I'm letting the other people disclose it. Our good old military, part of our Navy, they're disclosing stuff that's happening right now. Not whistleblowing. They're being fully sanctioned. If you dig into this deep enough and know where to look.
Well, if you dig deep enough, you hit water.
You think Space Force is a coincidence?
Think what is a coincidence?
Space Force.
Hmm.
When you start getting into this black project stuff, it starts to piss you off to a point
Is
where
the
like,
space program still very active like it once was? I think they sort of,
dude,
it's sort of like on the back burner now.
I don't
Or
even
unless they're
wanna
doing it,
tell you what I've
unless
been
they're
hearing
doing it
about.
and you're just not hearing a lot about it.
There's so much ridiculous stuff going on right now. It's crazy. It's insane.
When he's in robotics, so he would know.
It's totally like I'll have
That's
to
why he
ease you
couldn't
into
say
it
what his
because
job was.
it's real crazy talk. But if it's true, which it sounds like it is, because these people do make a good case, a very good legal case for themselves as not whistleblowers but sanctioned military personnel that
Okay.
are being say, "Go forth, my children," and start telling the public what we've been doing.
Well,
And what they're saying is very interesting
I think a good deal
because that would
I think a good
explain
deal of
some
it
of
is
the
not
things that
saying
we've been
anything.
experiencing.
Yeah, I think they're not saying anything about a lot of it. They're
But as
keeping
far
a
as
lot of it
time
quiet.
goes, well, if what they're saying is true, that's a piece of cake. It's
all
a
right.
piece of cake.
Gentlemen, we are going to wrap. This has been an interesting show, my goodness, and we will definitely continue it again when we can all get back here together again. Thank you so much, Pete Crapia. Always a joy. Come back anytime you want. Love your views,
Bring
love
the
your
crazy
opinions
guy.
on things. Oh no, you kidding? I never once have I ever thought you were crazy. I don't care what everybody else says about you. You're okay by me. I don't care. I don't like that. Tony, come back anytime you want when you have
Thanks,
a
Bob.
free moment. I
Yeah,
know you're very
whenever free
busy.
moment. Yeah.
Anything you want to plug that you got coming up?
Just got, I'm doing tours. I mean,
Okay.
they're still on the schedule nightly.
Okay,
We just don't
all right.
have as many people coming.
Yeah,
We're
obviously
doing
for
the
the winter
stuff
months, yeah.
with Hands on Paranormal. We got
Okay.
the thing at the church this Saturday.
And Jason, you're getting the ball rolling with your stuff there. You're starting to do some things
I
there.
am.
So
You can
okay.
actually check me out on Jason's Paranormal Society. I do have a website.
Okay,
as
you got
well
your
as
own
Facebook.
page. Yeah. Okay. Great.
His doppelganger has a website too. So
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. All right.
So if one doesn't get it, the other one.
And Mr. Julius Schwarzinger.
Okay, yeah. To check out what's going on with Hands on Paranormal with Tony doing the tours and stuff, you can just go to handsonparanormal.com, and there's always information on what's going on. And at the church, we're going to be here this Friday at 11 p.m. The address is 5130 West 25th Street.
Saturday, right? Saturday.
Yes.
Saturday, yeah.
Saturday.
Yeah. Mhm.
In Cicero, Illinois. And there is private parking.
Okay, so it's
5130 West 25th Street.
West 950. That's this Saturday. If someone's interested in this, how do they get a hold of you?
And the website.
Just go up to the web.
Yeah,
Hands on Paranormal. Okay, that's what I was getting
.com.
at. They go up to Hands on Paranormal. They can find out about that and nothing going on for you on Saturday night. You might want to check this out and
Yeah.
experience
Yeah.
this. So
I'll be there as well.
okay,
Yeah, Jason will be there. Mhm.
so you get to meet the guys and they'll be there and hopefully you have some sort of an experience. Yeah,
And my doppelganger.
Yeah.
Yeah.
well,
yeah.
So we have 4 people there, huh?
Yeah.
Right.
See, with Jason, you don't know. You get 2 for
Right, you
1.
never know who you're
If you ever
getting.
run
Yeah.
into yourself, you have to
Yeah.
ask
Run.
what year it is. No, not run. You walk right
Well,
up.
my
You did
dog
that.
found
Eyes,
it
don't look
myself.
away. You know how it happens when
He's
you look
done
away,
that.
they always disappear. Lock eyes and you ask what year it is.
Okay. All right.
Makes sense.
Yeah. I didn't even think of that. Okay.
At least get something out of it.
If you
They're gonna
see if you
disappear.
see yourself when you're 12 years old and you're 62 right now,
See, I want to be
Yeah.
12 again.
I want to go back to that
is
year.
it possible to turn the clock back? I don't know. I think many people have tried. I just don't think that's a possible.
Yeah, I
one.
wouldn't ask for the lottery numbers myself. I wouldn't do any of that crap.
I would.
just
if
ask what
I
year
had
it
the
is.
opportunity, if it was possible for me to go back and start over, I wouldn't want to. I like it where I'm at
No,
now.
it's
I like it where I'm at
Just
now. I'm
leave
very
it be.
happy with things now and that, and I wouldn't want to start over again. Not that everything in the past was bad, but it's just I'm very content
to
where I'm
go
at.
through
Where I
life,
am.
right.
Yeah, I'm very content now where this all is. So, gentlemen, thank you so much.
Thank
It's always
you.
a joy
Thanks
having
so
you.
much
Thank
for
you all
having
for
us.
coming
It's
on.
always
Yeah.
a pleasure. Thank you.
Okay, just again to run by some of the stuff here. The South Suburban Humane Society, if you would like to donate to that, a very, very worthwhile cause there. Do a lot of work saving animals that would otherwise be destroyed and caring for them. Give them a ring, 708-755-7387, or go up on their website, South Suburban Humane Society, if you do want to donate to that. Mr. Roger Ravala, thank you for the fine work you're doing with that. Also, too, our next show will be February 11th. We've got Hauntings Paranormal and The Unexplained, the team coming on with that with Audra Wysorek. I hope I'm pronouncing her name right. Wonderful lady. Talked with her the other night for a couple hours. We were on the phone. Well, I don't know about a couple hours, maybe an hour and a half. We were on the phone just relating experiences and stuff like that. Wonderful. I'm looking forward to meeting her and her team. What do I have coming up? Oh, March the 7th. I'm doing a talk over at the Justice Library. I'll be over there talking on frauds, hoaxes, and phonies in the paranormal. I'll be there. I'll be talking about that one, doing that, yeah, and
I'm calling you out.
and doing that one, yeah. No, I'm not going to mention any names or anything like that. Just certain things. It's something I've wanted to do because a lot of what I'm seeing going on in the paranormal, a lot of it I don't like that's going on, and I'd like to just maybe point the public's attention to that. You know, this isn't to slam anybody or do anything about anybody and that kind of thing like that.
That's the lady?
That's her. That's Audra. Yeah.
Julius.
Yeah.
This is a lady who's with the private team that's coming to the church on the 15th.
The show never ends.
Okay.
That's the one he's talking
Okay,
about.
we'll talk about it later.
Yeah.
Okay, we'll talk about it later. Anywho, that, so that will be at the Justice Library. It's right over there on Archer Road, right by, and that's March 7th, so that'll be coming up. Next show will be February 11th that we'll be doing here. And again, please pray for Mr. Red Ryan, Jack Ryan. A wonderful gentleman, just a nice man, nicest man on the face of the earth, and just going through a difficult time right now with some illnesses and things. He had a stroke, and he's going through pneumonia and that. And we want to see Jack get well and come back and do his radio again and do everything that he's been doing and take care of that. And as always, John DeVita, sir, thank you so much for allowing me to come here once a month and do these shows. They're just an absolute joy. I just love doing them. And that will be it, folks. Have a wonderful week, a wonderful month. Enjoy the winter. We'll see you all on February 11th. Bye-bye. Thank you.
You have been listening to Paranormal Radio with Bob Trisek from the John DeVita Broadcast Center on the Windy City Hometown Entertainment Network. Paranormal Radio was directed by John DeVita, and our special thanks to the executive producer of Windy City Hometown Entertainment Network, Mr. John Chikanda. This broadcast was pre-recorded on Monday, January the 14th, the year 2019. Until next time, friends, please be safe and thanks for listening.